It says it's live, yeah. So I'll get confirmation, hopefully.
My camera's running. Yours not.
Okay. Okay, guys, we're I'm hoping we're live, so I don't have anybody on. Thanks, Kenny. Sorry for the delay. I thought we started at noon. We actually start at 12:30, and the umpires were late, so we're doing home plate right now. We're live, so that's great. We are playing a team that is out of San Diego. I can tell you this is the team that's going to give us our toughest test. They got about an 18-man lineup. They've hit multiple home runs this tournament. Kenny, you know, when we go to Arizona, sometimes we subject teams to the eye test, and you're looking for. I'm always looking for, you know, athletic guys who if they're big, you know, they're still in shape, and if they're not big, they look athletic. And these guys got a mix of both of those. The teams that don't scare me as much are the teams that have the softball build. You know, the guys who are heavier and they're going to hit the ball a long way, but they can't run well. And we saw a lot of those guys actually last night on the SoCal Snappers. They could really hit the ball, but they weren't particularly athletic and they didn't move all that well. This team is going to be tough. I think they're going to have good pitching too. 18-man lineup, 18-man roster. I think we got 6 in the chat, so maybe we'll talk a little bit more about the teams when a few more pop in. I think we got up to high teens before, so I think if these numbers are accurate, so we should have a few more people joining us. Anticipating the same lineup, we got Tommy the Cork on the mound, so there was speculation in the booth that we might see Matt Grill do what he did in Arizona, and that was pitch semis in the finals. But again, Matt's manager's with us on this trip, and I don't think, I'm not saying that Hans put the kibosh on Matt throwing a second game. I doubt Hans may be all for it, but it may be the confidence that Randy has in Cork as well that has Cork on the mound. Catcher's a big boy. Probably see his right bicep. Pitcher isn't a giant. He's got the longer arms of a pitcher. Now, again, this is a championship game. You'd think that, I would anticipate that a roster this big would probably have been able to save their ace for this game. It's a nice, easy delivery. It's a dead straight fastball. I think he's just getting loose though. I would anticipate that this pitcher is going to be very, very good. The other team's giving me the side eye, like they're concerned with me standing back here. I actually don't have my Mammoth jersey on. I just have a white shirt, so I don't know that they think I'm with the Mammoth. Hoping we can keep this angle. This is a good angle. We're on the better field now, so we got off the JV field, which I compared to the set of a horror movie. If they were going to film a horror movie that featured baseball prominently in the plot line, that field would have been a good set for that. But this is the varsity version of this field, so we have fences. We have a mound that's more than a gentle swell. We got a home plate that isn't inset into the earth. They did a lot of work spraying the field down. The high school team is out here prepping the team. All right, there's the fastball. So he was going nice and easy early, and then he pumps a fastball. I'm here with Bob Gordon again, so.
Sorry. Are we actually live?
Yeah, we're live. We got everybody's on. I got on the first try.
Maybe a bad home. That we didn't have to struggle to go live. How many are watching?
I see it 10. I think that's 10. We got up to.
We've been averaging tens of people.
Yeah, tens of people. We got up to low 20s last game, which I didn't think we could have. Like, we got 30 last night, but that was like a Sunday
we had 30
night.
for a while, but that viewership dropped off precipitously.
So we got Tommy the Cork leading off. I think did Tom get a hit in the first game? It seems like he must have.
Yeah, he started. I think he got on first inning.
Yeah, he flew out a couple times too. This is not a particularly good angle for anyone, I don't think. We got an umpire with broad shoulders.
We're comparing backstops from this game and last night.
We may try to go to the other. If this umpire stays in this spot, we will, between innings, we'll transfer over to the other side of the plate to get a better look at the pitcher. I don't even think you can see the pitcher very well from this shot, but we'll stick here for now. In the top of the first, no score, lead off Tommy the Cork. Pretty good fastball, huh?
Yeah.
If you're just joining us, this is a championship game. Palm Springs Desert Classic, 35 plus division. Undefeated Mammoth against an undefeated team out of San Diego. Cork telling the ump he thought it was high, but he said it with a smile on his face. 3-1. We have 18 or 19 guys over there. Randy saw this team play briefly, or a couple innings maybe, earlier in the tournament, said they can really play. So I do think this kind of pitcher, from what I can tell, he's got a decent enough fastball, but it looks straight. And this is a team, this Mammoth team is a team that actually enjoys quicker pitching to a point, right? I mean, if it's quicker pitching that's got a lot of movement, it's going to give this team issues, but from what I've seen so far, this is a pretty straight fastball, so I would anticipate we may do okay. There's a high fastball, ball four. That's not a great fastball, right?
You could hear a little sizzle.
How you doing?
Good, and you?
Good. So, batting second, got Hans. Man on first, nobody out. The other team
Definitely the best fastball we've seen.
Other team just brought a phone over.
Same idea.
Same idea. I don't think they've got Dick and Bert in the booth though. That's a good fastball.
I don't think we've seen that yet this tournament right there.
Right. But again, it looks very straight. So the umpire is moving to the other shoulder with a righty in the box. There's fewer righties or fewer lefties in the lineup, so we'll have our best angle, I think, if we just stay right here. So we faced a pitcher in our semifinals who was kind of a frisbeer, worked the corners, got us to chase. This guy, I think...
Nothing was straight for him.
Nothing was straight. This guy looks like a guy who's just going to try to bulldoze, power pitcher, bulldoze through the zone with the fastball right there.
That is...
You can probably hear the pop of the glove, right?
Yeah.
From here, though, to me, it looks very hittable, but everything looks hittable from here.
We're also 85 feet.
I don't really question I don't question the Mammoth offense in this game. What I worry about is if we're going to be able to slow down their bats, because I think they're going to be stacked, but we'll see. This speed certainly isn't speed that's going to bother Hans. Hans sees it all the time. Do we have a guy in the 35 plus who throws like this? I don't think so, right?
No.
TC Mobile? I mean, the hardest throwers would probably be Smiley and John Barbella.
Yeah.
Even at 51 or 52, John can still hum it. I think John Barbella early in the game, when he has the grunt fastball working,
Yeah.
you know, I think you get a little. That feels like it's got some real giddy up.
Felt that was down. First pitch we've really seen down that fastball.
Yeah.
I mean, again, lots of fastballs.
From here, I mean, we had someone setting up the camera, so I don't want to say too much. That looked like a strike to me. I mean, Hans didn't seem to like that call. And what I have found, talking to the guys after these streams, is fastball. Sometimes my perception of the umpire in the zone is just wildly divergent
You're an
from
umpire apologist.
Yeah, but like I thought the umpire in game 1 did a nice job, and then I talked to some of the guys and they said, no, this is going to be a double play. 4-6-3. So the Mammoth squandered the leadoff walk from Tommy the Cork. Going to the bottom of the first to score 0-0. I thought the umpire in the first game did a really nice job, but then I was talking to, I don't know, it was Cork or Casey, and they said they thought he was missing pitches.
I mean, with the exception of a couple calls here and there, like I feel like umpiring has not played a role.
I agree.
In the tournament. Last game, I mean, there's some question on the Rob Jones first base bag touch. You know, that did give them a run if they got the call that we thought was correct.
I agree. I think there's been one howler. There's been one really bad call that should have been overturned.
But otherwise, I mean, umpiring has been invisible, right? I mean,
Yeah, they're from San Diego, we believe. It's about a 2-hour drive, so
2 hour no traffic, maybe middle of the night, rush hour.
about 3 hours. So probably just in that zone where you might decide to get a house here as opposed to make the commute every day.
I mean, that's a long drive we do every day, twice, you know, like here and then home. Especially if you're playing a 6:30 start time.
That's right. It's close enough though that, you know, this team is probably going to be something like a TCMBL team would be if we hosted a tournament in maybe Rochester. I don't know. If we hosted a tournament in Minneapolis and you basically had the luxury of plucking the very best players from 18, 28, 35, that team would win. Full stop. And we have a good percentage of those players on the Mammoth roster, but obviously we don't have them all.
I think the difference between us and them is that this is vacation with baseball or baseball with vacation, however you see it. This might not be a vacation. And they may just be hanging out for a few days, not necessarily coming to town early, staying a day late.
Right, I think that's right. I think it would be, again, comparable as if we had a tournament out of Minneapolis. It would feel less like a vacation.
Tournament in cities, potentially you could work, you know, like take a half day.
Yeah. That we
this
had.
is a weekend tournament. I mean, when you think about it, with the Monday being a holiday and most people getting that day off.
I think the TCMA would have a hard time finding enough fields. So this is Tommy the Cork. Now Tom pitched, what did he pitch? Game 2, right?
Game 2.
And he pitched a complete game. And then he came back yesterday through 2 innings.
I don't know what's wrong with that.
Clark's asking where that one was missed. Bob thought that was a strike too. So he pitched a couple innings yesterday, basically just lobbed it in there. Now what this batter is
Sort of confused with the style.
Yeah. I think he's thinking, oh, not one of these guys. Not one of these guys. So what Cork did in his start is he came out, and Cork typically throws about 80%, and then he'll mix in 100% fastball in his curveball, which is pretty good. But he found that the hitters were on time with his fastball, and when Cork went 100% or went 80%, they were tattooing the ball. So Cork basically dialed back to about 60%, 50%, 40%, and really just
Confused them. Like
confused them.
They kind of like that batter there was just like, I don't know what just happened.
But he would have like delayed windups. He'd lift that front leg, and then he'd just hesitate for a while. He would throw a 60-mile-an-hour fastball, and then maybe not 60, more like 50, and then pump in a 65. So that short hopped the batter. But
I struggled with that the last time he pitched with maybe hitting guys.
yeah, I mean, he pitches for the Skeeters. He pitched for the Mammoth. I think one of his strengths as a pitcher is he doesn't walk guys. But you know this, Bob. Like when you're not throwing as hard as you can. You're not throwing as hard as you usually do, and you're just trying to aim the ball in there with lower velocity. It's harder to maintain your control. But early
Well, I say
on,
don't ever aim. You just gotta throw it.
yeah. But early on, I think Cork's sense is that he's going to have to get by this lineup like he managed that Game 2 lineup, and that's less with his maximum effort fastballs and sharp curveballs, and more with just mixing it up, and more Doug Jones, or who's another junk baller? Who would be the prototypical junk baller if you had to say? I'm thinking Doug Jones, the old Indians, now Guardians, Guardian branded team.
Yeah.
Eddie Guardado. I'm not a big Twins guy, but wasn't he kind of?
Nothing was really hard. Nothing was ever straight. Kind of messed with the angles.
That one Chris backhanded rather than scooting out and kind of absorbing with the body. Part of that, no doubt, has to do with the fact that I don't think Chris is caught. Did Chris catch Court?
He might have caught him on both.
These two aren't familiar with each other. Another get me over fastball. Man on second.
A little bit of a breathe.
Yeah.
Pushing it on the left. Kind of a short porch to 35.
Man on second, bottom of the first, no score, 1 out. Cork gave him the grunt. So last time we did this stream, every once in a while Cork would slip a grunt in there. And Cork's a very cerebral guy, and I thought I heard him talking about this before. I thought that was based on sports science, because you hear tennis players, Monica Seles comes to mind, scream like they're being, well, I was going to use an analogy that it wouldn't be appropriate for Monica Seles, but they scream like they're being attacked.
So they're going to test Dawes'
Dawes got to go down there. It's up the line, he's going to score.
Oh, darn it.
Ground ball, Hans backhand side, Hans dove, went off the tip of his glove. Dahl fielded it, threw home, throws up the line, batter on second, scores. 1-0, San Diego, we'll call it. Anyway, I was talking to Cork, and I thought he was grunting because the sports science suggests that. That's why tennis players grunt typically. They hit the ball harder when you grunt, and there's some science behind that. But Cork wasn't doing it for that reason, or at least not consciously. I think he told me, yeah, I just started grunting sometimes when I pitch and I'm throwing harder. So he's not following the science, but the science is definitely supporting what he's doing. I think he also mixes in a grunt sometimes on the changeup.
Well, that curveball was a grunt.
Was it a grunt?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a shot to the gap.
Right,
Billy's coming over. He's got it.
Kind of
All right.
right back to him.
They got one. Barry just told the batter, can't hit it much better, bro.
Fair.
So the Mammoth got here by sweeping their round robin opponents. Won our first playoff game last night against a severely understaffed SoCal Snappers team. That game was basically over after the first pitch. And then they won a thriller against a very tough Tijuana team to get to this game. Pretty clearly, in my mind, the class of the tournament, these two teams. Yeah, this guy's humming, Bob. Fastball is just dead straight, though. I want to see his.
I don't think we've seen a breaking ball.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wanna see.
in the game.
You'd anticipate a pretty good slider from, at least on this level, from a guy who generates this arm speed and pitch speed, but we haven't seen it. He's got a change-up grip there, I think. No?
Again, if he's successful with the fastball, keep throwing it until you prove otherwise, right?
That looked like it had a little tail in Clarky. Tough chance for Hans.
Could have really used
Talking to Tom
first
Corcoran.
pitch strike instead of the first pitch bounce on the grass.
The ankle ball.
What do you think of this guy's fastball, Court? Pretty straight, but pretty good.
Compared to what we've seen, this guy's Nolan Ryan. Like,
It's a Walter Big Train Johnson.
Like this.
I would like to see a replay of a swing on his fastball. Probably late. But like,
It doesn't. To me, it looks just dead straight.
yeah.
And it doesn't look so fast that you guys aren't going to hit it.
He's very much trying to nibble though. Like nothing was super right now.
Did you see anything but a fastball? Even in warm
Everybody, no. Stark said he got ground ball and a change up.
Change up? Okay.
And then who's second? Hans said that he got something that wasn't effective. So I think 2 pitches. That's the pitch. Probably outside corner, right?
Yeah.
He set up the when he starts getting that corner, he's gonna be real tough. That was good.
That was
Yeah,
a
slider or
yeah.
something. So we think he's got 3 pitches: fastball, some kind of breaking pitch, slider, curveball, and a changeup. Good spot.
Do you think my strike 3 curveball?
It seemed to break right there. I mean,
I think strike 1 was a strike.
Was that the one that you broke over the inside part of the plate? Yeah, it might have been a little high, but it was a good spot. He wasn't going to hit it.
Nice hit, Casey.
Yeah, that's what Casey does to a fastball like that. Gets a line drive somewhere.
Come on, Billy.
So the Mammoth get a runner. 1 on, nobody out. Mammoth down 1-0, top of the second. Mammoth, the 2 seed, playing San Diego, the 1 seed.
You can tell getting that 4-hitter, and that like off the end, out in front of it, just a missile to Billy.
yeah.
Please don't barrel one today. Shades of young Tom Kenrick up there.
Not so much. We need Billy here to.
Stop!
Billy a little bit behind that. That wasn't straight back. That was a little bit off. Say between home plate and the dugout, but see if he comes in hard on the hands after a swing that was a little late. That's what I would do. See where he sets up. No, he's outside again.
Oh, good home.
Pitch came up and in though.
Every at bat, Billy's looking a little more comfortable.
I agree.
A little more.
I think he was feeling a little bit better last game.
Yep.
With some good swings on it.
Oh,
That was
There's
a
the
breaking ball right there.
Slider. 1
Billy
and 2.
comes out looking very much like his fastball.
What do you do here now if you're a pitcher, Bob?
I mean, I like that outside corner. Just kind of
Keep working the outside?
That's where he was.
I still think I'd go hard.
Ozzy was kind of down.
I think I go hard in.
Well, he's down. Yeah. That's a good
No,
one.
working the outer half. 2-2. Man on first, nobody out. Mammoth down 1-0, top of the
I can
second.
throw any pitch right now too. You can go back to that fastball, change up or spin one. Good.
That's a great hold. A slider that stayed up.
Nothing moved there.
3-2. I don't know that he's got control of that slider, so maybe you would just anticipate he's going to challenge it with a fastball here. That slider.
We've seen mostly fastballs, so
Yep.
you think we would get another one right.
I expect this catcher can really throw, so I don't think we'll be running much. And if you're not running, don't take a stolen base lead. That would be my counsel.
Tom, you don't generally take much more than 2 steps off the
I'm
base.
generally
so.
on the base. There he came in with the fastball.
Generally mid-conversation with the first baseman while the pitch is being delivered.
Sometimes I forget there's a baseball game going on. It interrupts with my conversations with the guys out there on the field.
On tie up for blue, you need to finish your thought.
Please, guys, just give me a little.
Respect the game.
3-2. This is kind of a big at bat here. Guys, first and second. Moody coming up. He just threw the fastball by him. I'd say that pitch was a little bit elevated, so it's going to be hard to catch up to it. I think Billy will tell you you should have hit it, but
Yeah.
I don't think you can say you should have hit a pitch like that. That's a good fastball. I mean, Billy's going to be disappointed, but Billy put up a good at bat. I mean, he took him full.
He's thrown a bunch of pitches so far in the second inning, so between the two.
This is
Tough
a
pitch right there. That is that outside corner.
this is a pattern people who follow the TCMBL are familiar with Ludi. Ludi likes to see pitches, not afraid they fall behind in the count. But now he can't afford to take another close one. He's down 0-2.
I'm paying a lot of respect to Casey over there, despite the conservative lead.
I'd be very surprised to see Casey run. It's a good tape by Ludi. I think that was off the plate, and I think it was off the plate enough that
I
he
think it
could.
was meant to be that. The catcher set way out and had his mitt in the other batter's box, so I don't think that was meant to be a strike. Maybe trying to get a chase.
Now you throw the slider, right? You bury it away. Came with the fastball. He missed with that pitch. The catcher wanted it out, and that basically split the plate. You can see Mammoth hitters fouling these pitches off to the side, so everyone's a little late. The pace on this pitching is much faster than what we saw this morning, so it may take one time through for these guys to kind of, there's the slider. It's a good take. Very tight slider. I don't see a tremendous amount of break on that slider, but there is some break.
The benefit is the change in speed and the where he's throwing the spot there.
Yeah. Came in on. Wow. Okay, that was a ground ball to the second baseman. Second baseman flipped it to the shortstop. The umpire's claiming that the shortstop came off the base, I think, before he secured the baseball. Because it looked like the throw beat him.
But then, and they called him out, but then they reversed that. Right?
Did they reverse it?
I thought I heard out.
The result here is that we got guys on first and second, nobody out. So he came in hard with a fastball. Rudy got the hands inside the ball, pushed it to the second baseman. Second baseman booted it, flipped it to short. short, we think, didn't secure the baseball before Casey got there. First and second, nobody out. Mammoth are in business. Randy Schmidt at the plate. It's a good cut. Randy likes hitting harder pitching. We've been doing a lot of work in the Ibex cage hit tracks past a couple weeks coming into this tournament. Randy has been destroying the baseball. Now this is a pitching machine throwing 65 versus a real pitcher probably pumping it in the mid 70s. So
I think he's touching me.
yeah, I wonder. We'll see when Court comes back what he thinks. How fast this guy's pumping it in there. Come on, Randy. Find a gap.
Good spot.
He's definitely putting the ball where he wants to. This pitcher, right?
Especially with that fastball, he is spotting it.
I mean, I actually have seen maybe 2 pitches where he meant to go in and the catcher caught it out or vice versa. But yeah, he seems to be in command out there. There's the changeup. So we've seen the 3 pitches now. Fastball, slider that doesn't appear to have a tremendous amount of break, but like Bob said, it's different speed and it's still hard. And then that changeup, it's quite a bit slower than the fastball. San Diego up 1-0. We're in the top of the second, first and second. Nobody out. Randy Schmidt at the plate. Got Mike Lippert on deck. And it goes
Took off 4 signs, so there might be more than 3 pitches. They tried to take off his glove to.
It's a good eye. I mean, that pitch was up.
Yeah.
Randy was not going to do anything with that
That was
pitch.
right at the eye.
Randy likes to pitch down. What do you throw here? You think you try to bury a 3-2,
I'd go.
pump a fastball through there? I don't think it's going to be a chance. It's off the plate. What a great at bat. What a great at bat.
Next on the pond now.
Bases loaded, nobody out.
And that's what I would think because like if he gets in or whatever,
Mike Lippert steps to the plate. Mike's bat came alive, I think, last night in that snapper game. I think he got a couple of hits.
And they're going situational out at the mound. A little visit.
What would you be talking about out there right now, Bob? Dinner plans? I mean, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
With the Skeeters, probably. But
Probably,
like in
yeah.
this case, a game that.
I'm guessing it's.
What do you think? What are
where
they
does he want
talking
him to
about?
Play here? Does he want him up here? You know, is it? You know, are we looking home first, up the middle? What are they doing with it? Are they going to concede a run?
So
Not a
there's
whole infield meeting. So
Wow, he called that a ball. See the catcher walking out before he throws the ball. That's
it was
Kinda-
just off. Like catcher was set up well off.
maybe. I mean, I think that walk to the mound before he threw was the way the catcher signaling to the umpire didn't agree with the call. There's a pitch right down the pipe. It's gonna be a double play. It's gonna be.
Tough ball.
I thought there was nobody out. There was one out. Well, that ends the inning. That is disappointment. Lip just told the umpire he was safe. What was the first out?
Billy strikeout.
Billy strikeout. Okay. Now the home plate umpire saying he was out. What do you think, Bob? I thought he was out. Lip says he was safe. I trust Lip on that one, so I'm gonna say the umpire missed the call.
And again, home plate is backing up the partner. I mean,
Yeah. Very possible.
Again, it's bang bang. You have the umpire at second base, middle of the field. It's
So the word that was tossed around a lot last time Cork pitched was moxie and guile. This is a game where appears to me he's gonna try to get by with that as
There
opposed
goes a
to
little creativity.
creativity. Cork's got.
Playing a game of Settlers of Catan out there. Where
We should talk about our Settlers of Catan experience.
he's setting up.
What is he setting up? I mean, I just learned the rules when we played.
And
but-
I just watched from a distance. But he was, filming some roads and getting his wheat and sheep in order.
At one point, Tom Corcoran was a nationally ranked Settlers of Catan player. So we had a night in the house where we pulled out the Catan. We had a game. Nate Stark actually won. Cork tells me like Catan is 40% skill and 60% luck. And if you
Nate
don't-
Stark, having played the game,
Right.
familiar with it, so he did not sit in during the rules session, so you kind of had an idea that he was aware of some strategy going into it, taking advantage of those with less experience.
So this is yours truly. Rob Jones was involved in that game, and there was just a lot of talk coming from his corner of the table. That's a strike, 2-1. I'm curious to see what this lineup does a second time through. We're still very early here. I think, what is it, 3-1?
3-1.
This is a cleanup hitter. Good spot. One of Tom's strengths as a pitcher, I think, is his control. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. That might have been ball 4. Let's try to get this first batter. There's the grunt fastball. Corey's got a little smile on his face when he pitches. No, it's not smiley. It's not like Tommy Hansen. Tommy
No.
Hansen used to show you a mouthful of teeth when he pitched.
I think he's more kind of smiling because these batters are sort of confused at the strategy.
That was probably a 75% effort fastball that stayed up. Cleanup hitter just turned on it, hit it through the hole on the left side for a single. I think he has so much fun. I think part of it is he has
that
so
was
much
probably the seventh batter of their lineup.
Was it?
Yeah.
This is bottom of 2, right?
Yeah, no, it was not.
Is it bottom of 3?
Well, they went through their cleanup hitter.
Okay, so you're right. So this isn't that wasn't cleanup. Yeah,
They-
their
they've
cleanup
had some base runners.
cleanup was a big boy. This I think is. Come on, how's this turn 2? How's it gonna take this one? Easy peasy.
Rob Jones with an extended hold of the bag.
Rob had to shuffle his feet a little bit. Rob isn't accustomed to seeing a throw from the shortstop that has that kind of pace on it. I mean, our shortstop with the Skeeters, Seth Fenton, is very, very good. But wouldn't you say that Seth kind of sails it over there? He kind of eases it over there, whereas with Hans, he'll snap it over there, slings it over there.
Rob said he's got a little bit of a tail.
A little bit of a tail to it. So Clark is asking the third base coach, where did he think that was? Because they all kind of groan like, oh. He came right back with it. Did you like that one? What about this one?
Yeah. They're getting slower and slower.
Now you do the grunt fastball, don't you? I think he's going to do that. Now, delayed. Yep, there it is, the grunt fastball. He did the delayed leg kick and the grunt fastball after 2 quasi ephyses. It's actually fun watching Clark pitch this way.
I know Cork's enjoying his time down here. I think this would be a good conversation.
Ooh, he threw him a nice tight little slider that this guy stuck the bat out. Really nice
A little bit
piece of
of
hitting.
barrel on that to send it that direction.
Are there 2 outs now? God, I'm so bad at this. What are we doing back here? Like, I honestly don't know. Here's the catcher. I could recognize those biceps anywhere. This guy's got an impressive looking right bicep at any rate.
I think there was maybe a mocking grunt coming from the dugout. Hopefully it's all in good nature because Tom's a very good natured guy.
Yeah, I can't imagine Tom getting heated out there. We do have 2 outs. We had the double play, right?
That's right. Of course.
2 outs.
I'm trying to keep you in line here, John, so
I said it last game, if I could score this game, but we got to hold this camera.
they have a good method with some like maybe athletic tape.
I'm going to call that a wild pitch. That was well off the plate. Runner moves to second. Man on second. 2 outs. We think this is bottom of the third.
I think it has to. I think he does it quick. But again,
Score is. Oh, God. That one snuck under Ludy's glove. Runner's
I'll
going to
cut
score.
it off, but we're gonna go to 2 with it. See that guy first.
That was a ground ball that snuck under Ludy's glove down the third base line. Batter settled for a single, but the runner in second scores. It's now 2-0 San Diego. This is the third inning because we had the bases loaded last inning.
Yep.
And we haven't turned the lineup over. So this is this is the bottom of the
Bottom of
second.
2, because,
Bottom of
yeah.
2, yeah. Double play looms large. It's good that we turn that. A look of mild contempt on the batter's face as he backed out of the box there. Like, really? That's what you're going to throw? Wow. So an end of the
Great play
bat.
by Grill.
Soft liner up the middle. Matt Grill fully extended. A Superman dive. Makes the catch. Batter gave an appreciative nod to the second baseman, to the catcher, and then to the umpire. And the umpire nodded back. So everybody appreciated that play. Looks like Paul's back in the house. The inning is top of the third. Mammoth are down 2-0. Mammoth had the bases loaded with 1 out in the top of the second. Mike Lippert into a double play. Pitcher we're facing has got a live fastball, but it looks pretty straight. Good work out there, Cork.
These guys are hitting balls foot outside.
Yeah.
Hitting rock.
They're
One, was
they're
over
good.
Billy's head.
They're good.
That was like the worst pitch than I was aiming for, and he still hit the rock. Literally a foot outside. There's a lot of people in that team that stepped into the dugout and were like, ooh, this guy's going to be trouble. We're going to need to do something weird.
This guy's got some zip on it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He does. It's very
bringing
straight.
it.
He's got 3 pitches. He's got a over the top fastball that's pretty straight. He's got a slider that doesn't move much, and then he's got a changeup.
I can't tell from a right. You can definitely tell when he throws his changeup.
Yeah.
The fastball's been
That was
in
it
and
right
out
there.
pretty consistently,
Yeah.
so he's moving it around.
Yeah, he's definitely approaching each at bat with a plan. There's that tight. I think that's a tight slider.
That was the slider right there, yeah.
That had a pretty sharp tuck to it.
Sometimes when
That's a
those pitches
fastball.
are all within 10 miles of each other, sometimes it's tough to
Is that
differentiate.
ump got a tight,
For sure.
does he have a tight zone, or is he just...
They're pretty good.
Yeah. Because some of them, they must just be off the plate because...
There's a few that are pretty tight.
That's the voice of Pat Ralston. Pat is a permanent third base coach, now joined by Rob Jones. What's the mood in the dugout right now?
Is that my cue?
Yes.
Okay.
Throwing it to Rob Jones.
Thanks for asking, Tom. Pleasure to be here. I think people are pretty loose. This is a very good team that we're playing against.
Early.
Yeah.
What's the talk about the pitcher?
You can imagine a lot of
Well, I can imagine what I would say. Whatever everyone else
just
said.
fearful, intimidated whimpering.
That would be me. Okay. Probably less so with a lot of the guys in the dugout.
I think people think he's both the best pitcher we've seen this weekend and not something that we're not familiar with.
Yeah, I think that's 100%. He's got a good fastball pace-wise, but it's dead straight. It's dead straight.
Everybody's wondering where that last one was. That seemed like a good pitch.
And it's speed that everybody sees in 18 plus regularly, and most of these guys play 18 plus, so. It's that tight slider right
Yeah.
there.
They seem to be gentlemen, though, our opponent.
Oh yeah?
They seem to be good natured, like maybe a little bit of.
There's a little
ribbing.
odd chirping, but I think in general they're friendly.
Yep. That was a good spot. Upper quadrant of the strike zone on the outside corner. Mike gave him a look, more of a look like good pitch than he was upset with the call.
There's a lot of fear with a faster fastball. You guys have seen all the righties that like to go the other way and a little fence in the dugout. Like those three factors.
Yeah.
Guys a little on edge.
Definitely head on the swivel, right?
Most sought after spots are against that city block
Okay.
on the bench.
Maybe behind
It's pretty thin after that.
behind the steel pole.
1-1 the Mac Grill, or maybe 2-0.
That's my preferred spot. A lot of guys don't feel that provides any shade.
Good court coming up.
You can
Just
make
to get
you can
Grill
make
on
that work.
base. Matt's been very good in this second leadoff spot for the team this tournament.
Treat them now. Thanks, gentlemen. Have a good one.
2-1. Another really nice spot for that fastball.
The catcher wanted it out. He brought that. I mean,
Did he?
Yeah. Missed the mitt.
Grew that fastball. Matt was just laid on it.
A little bit of umpire showboat out there. Cracking down a foul ball.
Feigning a soccer injury, right?
Yeah.
Almost did a full flop.
Yeah.
2-2. Just slider. Yep. That's a tough pitch.
Yeah.
Buried that slider down and away.
Which is what you do in that cone. Worst thing you can do is fall it off or tap it right back to him.
Two outs. Tom Corcoran, top of the third. Mammoth down 2-0. Oh, we got under it again.
Powering ball.
Got under it though.
Pushing him back.
We've seen Court do that a couple times this tournament. Just missed. Randy likes to talk about how he thinks of the Mammoth as a team that takes teams into deeper water and just drowns them. And by that he means he thinks
Can outlast him, right?
outlast the depth of the lineup and, you know, a pitching rotation that isn't necessarily loaded with super arms but has quality all the way down. And I bring that up because I think the team we're facing is similar to that. I think they're a team solid 1 through 9. They've got enough guys here that I think they're going to have an arm to come in if we would get to this guy. And I think they're probably accustomed to doing what we do. Drag a team out to deeper waters and then just drown them.
For all we know, they have 3 more arms ready to go.
For sure. I mean, I think the weight of their roster is, if we lose this game, and it's way too early to say that, but I think the weight of their roster may offset some of the effect that Randy describes when he talks about taking a team to deeper waters. We'll see though. Definitely still in this one. It's only 2-0. We've got a craftsman on the mound. A craftsman, right? That's how you would describe this style right now?
Crafty for sure.
I'm trying to think of, I mean, we should be able to come up with a crafty Major League pitcher for crying out loud. Major League Baseball's been around for a century.
All the names that come to mind right now are power pitchers.
Right, that's all that's around anymore. I'm trying to think back to the 80s, who I would compare Cork to.
Your Negro brothers.
Yeah.
Some of the gimmicky knuckleballs. And
Yeah, I mean, they had the knuckleball though, like, you know. Somebody in the chat, they didn't come up with a comp for Cork. Yeah, it's top of the fourth, 2-0. Jamie Moyer, thank you.
we're in the bottom now.
Oh, bottom of fourth. Bottom of third. Bottom of third. Yeah, we just turned the lineup over. So it's bottom of the third, I think.
Yeah, Cork just got a second.
Yeah. Bottom of the third, Mammoth down 2-0. Jamie Moyer, I think that's Matt Stengel who provided that. That's right.
That TCM maybe.
Yeah.
That might be Diamond Dan.
Oh, it could be Diamond Dan too. I thought, oh, maybe. Whoever it is out there, thank you. Of course, Jamie Moyer. Count is 2-0, I believe.
I broke
Is
it
it
back
broken
there.
back? Okay, that was to Hans's backhand.
Kind of left it behind there for a second and then fired over to Rob just second late.
Runner
Or
reaches,
second
man on first. So we back to the top then? This is- I think that bearded guy was the 4-hitter.
Yeah.
So this must be 2. 2, 3, 4.
Where this lead off in green gloves is.
Could be, yeah. Uh-oh, here we go. A little ruckus in the bleachers over here. We've got Bill's 2 dogs here. And then I think a local has one of those little lap dogs, and Bill's dogs went after the lap dogs. Okay, that's calmed down. Back to the game. Cork checks the runner at first. Nobody out man on first. Mammoth down 2-0. We're distracted by the conversation over on our right there. Yeah.
Bulldog was sort of been kind of barking at Billy's dogs, and they're have been the sweetest dogs, and I think they are friendly. I mean, I think they're going over to visit, but
I mean, it's the classic little dog who doesn't realize he's a little dog,
Yeah.
acting like a big dog. Looks like San Diego has signs. The Mammoth generally roll without signs. So we try to read these signs.
it has probably been 25 years since I've had a sign given to me during a baseball game at the TCM ABL.
Cork can do that. If Cork needs to throw a strike, that's one thing he's pretty good at.
There's often the attempt at a sign, but it's generally meaningless.
It's a mockery of the form when we do it. There he missed. Okay, I think this is a 3-hitter.
Hey, Pat.
Oh, I know who this guy is. That's the manager, right? That's the manager. That's the third base coach.
Yeah.
So for those of us who were along for the ride earlier this morning, we had an issue with their third base coach. There's a shot to left.
Coming up throwing.
They're going to hold him up. This is getting ugly. Something happens.
Maybe not get it on.
Well, I mean, if something happened, it'd be good to have it on film. This guy's an asshole. What we're dealing with. He's an asshole. I don't know what he's doing here.
I think they're just hanging out. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, he's chirping though. I mean, Pat's complaining because he's sitting there chirping at us, or at Pat, probably, because he got into it with Pat. He says he's watching the fucking game. He's here to play the role of the asshole.
Well, we are. It's just a bunch of 40 and 50-year-old men playing baseball on a Monday afternoon.
Right. Stakes could hardly be higher, right?
There is nothing on the line here. I mean, yeah, there's some medal and trophy maybe involved, and it's fun to win. Not gonna, but
That third base coach made an ill-advised wave. He waved one of his players home. It was ill-advised. Ludi, who was playing third, made a comment. The third base coach, this is last game, mind you. Third base coach took exception to the comment, immediately called Ludi out. Pat's our third base coach. As Pat was walking down to his position the next inning, it's a ground ball to Ludi, touches the bag, going home, puts him on the tag.
take a play, guys.
Umpires signaling safe. I don't know what happened there. What do you think
I
happened?
mean, I think he's saying he didn't either tag him or.
The throw beat him. I don't know. Okay, he must have missed a tag. All right, that run's going to score. It's 3-0 San Diego.
I don't honestly know what happened.
Umpire was right there. I don't see Chris Yankee complaining too much.
Yeah.
So I think we have to assume that call was right. Good umpiring there. 3-0 San Diego. That was as close to an ephus as you're going to see in this game, I think.
It's close to an ephus as if Tom Genner.
Well, mine's a palm ball, actually. I wish the Skeeters would get that straight. I've been hammering away at that for years.
You know, I've been trolling you for years, calling it an ephus, knowing that it's a palm ball. I talked about it on the broadcast last night when you were pitching. So, like, is he throwing an ephus? I'm like, we like to call it an ephus, but Tom is adamant that it is a palm ball.
I was actually throwing as hard as I could last night. I didn't even try to throw an ephus or palm ball, excuse me. Last night.
See, you don't even know.
Just to finish that story with Pat. So Pat, third base coach, walking down to the third base box. The other team was on the third base side. He starts jawing with the other third base coach that took offense with Ludi's remark. I think the other third base coach instigated the exchange, and then he just wouldn't let it go. Had to stop the game. Umpire had to meet with the coaches at home plate, said enough. Their coach didn't have enough, kept going. Umpire finally said, "You got to get back to the dugout." So he stayed in the dugout the rest of the game. Now he's watching. There's a fly ball to left, and apparently chirping at a lot of the Mammoth players as they get in the on-deck circle. So he's right behind our dugout. No reason to be sitting there. No reason to be chirping. He got his back up because Ludi shouldn't have said anything. Ludi apparently said something like that was a dumb scent or something, right? I mean, Ludi shouldn't have said that. But he took it way too seriously.
Well, no, it's
and
just
now he won't let
continued
it go.
into this game, and nobody's letting anything go.
There's a bullet by the left side.
Dahl's
It's a
gonna
big
shut
hop.
off.
Dahl's going to shoot him down. Here's a throw. Beats the throw. San Diego 4. Mammoth, nothing.
I think they're starting to adjust their approach at the plate to maybe try and counter Cork's creativity.
Right, I mean, that was the question. I think you can get by a really good lineup with garbage. I don't want to call it garbage, with guile.
Not garbage, no, but it's
With
guile.
moxie. You can get by one time, but a good hitter's just going to not be fooled by the delays and the slower arm releases, the slow arm change-ups. They're going to sit back on it, and they're going to do what they're doing right now, which is hit the ball hard. Let's see if Cork adjusts here. It's another shot.
Oh, just over Ludi's glove.
Fair ball.
Gonna
Another
fade
one's going to
another.
score.
Play coming in third. Nope, got it there. We have I think we got Stark in the bullpen over there. He might be getting ready here. He's coming back.
So we may be seeing the last of Tommy Cork in this tournament here.
Let's see what Randy wants to do.
I mean, you called it, Bob. I think the second time through, this stuff just isn't going to play.
It's like Rocky, where Rocky, goes out left-handed. He goes out right-handed, and then he switched to the left hand. They can match. So does.
He switched to southpaw, right? Like there's
Well,
a
he
big,
was righty, and then all of a sudden, then he switched. And,
Yeah.
The momentum shifted, and
because they needed a gimmick. That was one of the sequels, and they had to come up with.
yeah.
I mean, they had the robot in Rocky 2. Remember the robot, or is that Rocky 3? That's really when the Rocky series just fell off they jumped the shark when they had the robot.
So maybe he goes back to his original style of pitching.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I think he's probably realized that Stark was warming up, and why not? I mean, just unload whatever you got left in the arm. What are you going to save it for? Chris makes a good stop. Yeah, I guess the subtext of the dog conflict over there was, I think that's the wife. I think that's her dog, and the wife of the guy who's being the asshole.
Potentially. But
Potentially the wife.
Right. A family dog.
So she was kind of barking at Billy's wife for letting her dogs get away. Billy's wife said.
There was no barking by Billy's dogs, but I don't know.
I think the woman with the lap dog was just worried about the size of.
Yeah.
Oh. There's a ground ball that got under Hans's glove. Kind of a tough hop. Hans kind of dropped down to a knee, as he will do. He brought the glove up to try to time the hop, and it just slipped under the glove. Okay, so it looks like we're going to put in a different battery here.
Yeah, double
Swapping
switch
out the
here.
battery. Randy pulling out all the stops. So this is, I'll have to say, this is an unusual spot for the Mammoth to be in.
Everyone can get the pitcher and catcher
And
switch at the same time.
the Mammoth have fallen behind in games. There were games in the Federal League playoff that they were lucky to win. I'll say we were lucky to win because I was there. But this game has a different feel, I think, than any game we've played in probably as a team. It just feels like maybe, I think I was talking to Casey on the way out here, and I said, we faced really good teams and we've been challenged by teams. But I told Casey, I don't feel like we've met a team where it just feels they're a lot better than us. Like a team that is just going to beat us more often than not. And I think early on, from what I've seen, this is the closest maybe to that we've seen.
people.
It would be curious to see what like a Matt Grill would do. Tom's not a bad pitcher by any means, but you know, Tom doesn't have the arsenal that Matt has.
Yeah.
Now Nate is a much more, you're going to get a more conventional approach from Nate, so maybe we'll be able to answer that question. We'll see how these guys react to more standard pitching fare. A couple of tough breaks out there, Cork. We're joined by Tom Corcoran now. A couple of ground balls that
Reminds me of exactly Palm Springs 2020. And you know what the spark plug was? I got the comeback going.
was it,
Talk about that on the stream.
Was it my little squib that they overthrew the first baseman and you probably scored a double?
No.
No.
Little league double.
It was the rocket you hit, and then you turned the Jets out. And you beat a great throw to first.
Oh, is that what happened? Somehow I ended up at second, I think, on that play though.
Through no fault of your own.
All right, we got first. Do you know what the score is, Corey? It's 5?
They got 5 this inning, I think. So
5
I
this
think
inning?
it's 6-1.
Okay, 6-1.
6-0.
6-0. Pretty good hitters, huh, Cork?
A lot of troublemakers in the batting box.
Would
a
you-
lot of guys you don't have much to do.
Would you
Hard to
say,
pitch around.
does this feel like maybe the best opponent we've seen? Would you say that
All
early
around,
on?
for
All the-
sure.
Yeah.
Their defense is very good.
Like I'm talking like in all of our, you know, Federal League, Arizona. Like, do you think this is maybe the best the Mammoth has seen?
They got a couple weak links, so obviously if Lakeville's got Meyer, they're gonna shut him out, no problem.
That's true. I didn't. You're right. I didn't take that into account.
If
Always breaking home. Good hustle from them. Runner on third. So Lip, who just entered the game, threw the ball back to Stark. Sailed over his head. Runner on third advances home. We think the score now is like 7. 7-0. I mean, I don't want to, you know, that Long Island team in Arizona was really good.
I would bet he's really, because like this is the 10 hitter here. It's like he's a beast.
Yeah.
Look at this, the one hitter. Like, you talk about body types on stream sometimes. It's like that guy just looks like he's gonna hit a double and then steal third.
Yeah.
And somehow score. Like,
My contention was if you're in the championship game, you're undefeated, and you've got an 18 or 19 man roster, you're going to have 8 or 9 guys who can really play, right? So Nate pitched on Saturday. He's coming off a 1-day rest. Nate, I don't think is someone who typically will throw a game back to back or throw on a short rest.
Come on.
No, off the top of the glove.
That was
That's
something
pretty
that
cool.
you don't normally see. Just
How
behind the
someone,
back flip
someone
thing.
else describe that because I don't even know
You're
how
the
to do
English
that.
major, Tom.
I
You
don't
don't have a
I don't know
chance
how
if
to
you
do
don't have
that.
a
He forehand scooped it and then did a behind the back flip to Hans, who was covering at second base.
Yeah.
Behind the back, I mean, he didn't pull the ball out of the glove with his hand. He just used his glove, but he flipped it behind his back. That was sick.
Without looking at the base.
Without
He
looking
was
at the
looking
base.
towards first. I feel like that was probably the best option right there to get that out.
Those are the kind of plays that Randy tells me about, that he sees the Coyotes, that infield flip with some regularity, when those two were the mainstays in short of second. Okay, so let's do a little game reset here. We think the score is what, 7-0, something like that. We're in the top of the 5th, top of the 4th. We've had probably some breakdowns defensively that explain some of these runs. Some of it has to do with Tom just said they have a pretty deep lineup. some of it has to do with his pitcher, who's throwing harder than anyone we've ever not anyone we've ever seen, but anyone we've seen in this tournament. He's got 3 quality pitches: fastball, changeup, slider. Just need to score a couple, right, Cork?
Just need a spark plug.
One at a
I've
time.
got some ideas.
I think if I went up there, even though I've seen that slider, I think he'd get out 2 strikes on me, and I think I'd strike out on a slider. I think I'd foul off his fastball. I don't think I'd square it up, and then I think I'd strike out on the slider.
I think you probably hit a triple up the middle.
Words you don't say very often. A ground ball up the middle that scored as a triple. Hey, we were wondering, how fast do you think he's throwing? It's not that
Low
fast,
70s?
right? Low 70s.
Low 70s. I was thinking low.
What? No.
It's coming in sizzle.
This is very comparable to a hit tracks 68 at the plate.
Yeah.
So what do you think the
That's that's like 73, 74. I mean, the fastball to me looks pretty hittable. It looks straight, and it's
He's
something.
locating it well.
Yeah.
Like Hans sees stuff. I mean, you guys see this stuff all the time in the summer, so right on that.
Very fast.
I don't hit fast pitching very well, but I felt comfortable up there. It's definitely not 80 plus. Like, how many people really throw 80 plus?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, when you see 80 plus, it seems really fast. And
Maybe
then
my
90
gauge is off from watching fastballs
Right.
earlier today.
Every
And
fastball
not-
before this was not in the 70s. So when we see low 70s.
That's a good spot. Umpire did not give him a call.
I thought the sump was very good.
Did
I
you?
was up there.
Yeah.
I think I disagreed on 2. 1, he called a ball that I thought was a strike. 1, he called it a strike that I thought was a ball.
Rope up the middle.
Ooh, that kind of took a weird hop. That would have been nice to
There's been there's definite lip hours between third and short. When
Yeah.
it gets out the stall, like it gives them about a 10-foot hop to them.
So I'm a little worried. Say a short, like there's a flare behind the third baseman. Hans is dealing with like a hill over there.
Yeah.
And he's got to run over.
It really drops off there.
Man on first, nobody out. Top of the. Is this the top of the 4th? Is this really only the 4th?
Yes.
Good eye. So Nate grounded into a double play last at bat. Tried to get him to chase, I think, the same pitch. Change up down in the dirt. This time Nate Stark says, no thank you. They have another. Setting up outside. Fastball outside. Missed it. We just need to score 2 or 3 runs here. It'll feel like we're back in the game. Ooh. Isn't that high?
A little high, maybe a little out. Maybe taller, but
Cork did say he agreed with just about every call the umpires made so far, so no complaints from our starting pitcher. Just threw that fastball right by him. Nate seemed on time with it. It's like he just missed it. Pitcher just shook him off. I wonder what he shook off. I think he buried that slider down and in. No, he came in with the fastball. He's going to get him on another double play. Sawed him off.
yeah,
Just busted him in on the hands.
where the catcher was setting up. Tom's tip of the cap from Casey Johnson.
Casey gave the camera a little point and a tip of the cap.
Nice hit by Casey his first at bat.
Casey's someone who's going to hammer this kind of fastball. Right on that, straight back.
Tom, you didn't even flinch on that one. The ball was coming straight back at your head.
I'm a professional, Bob. That's what
I mean, I didn't
professionals
flinch
do.
either, but I was sort of shocked that you didn't like cower.
You didn't find me on the floor? Like, where? Oh, Tom's down there. Slider.
Yes.
Off his
heel
heel.
of the glove.
To loop back to your question from earlier, I would say this team would be on the Mount Rushmore of opponents we faced as the Minnesota Mammoth.
So that is, I think, our 6th Mount Rushmore mention on. I think we're up to 6 now because we had one earlier today too. What was it? What was the 5th Mount Rushmore?
On the Mount Rushmore of Mount Rushmores?
that was
There
that was
was-
suggested last night. That
Yeah.
we've done so many Mount Rushmores, we got to do a Mount Rushmore of Mount Rushmores.
Oh, man.
What I told everybody in the hot tub is if you're doing a Mount Rushmore, never name the 4th president because then nobody can get offended. You name 3 of the 4, and then anyone who's hoping that they're the 4th, you just leave that open so everybody feels like they got a chance to be the
Whenever you
4th.
list anything, you say present company exclusive.
Yeah, that's the other caveat you throw in there. Yeah. Billy's down 2 strikes. Is he going to get that nasty slider, or is this guy just going to say, "Here's my fastball, you son of a bitch. See what you can do with it"?
I was standing over there, seeing that fastball now, and I think I might have to lean more towards Bob. Looked
Closer
like he
to
had some
80?
Good zip on when Stark was back when I was in the dugout. He cranked a couple of those.
So he's setting up out, suggest slider. It's a slider.
Yeah.
Now you elevate a fastball, right? Don't you elevate the fastball here?
Nobody's been on a fastball. Really. Hanji's, I think, was a fastball.
Yeah, hit it
Yeah,
right
he
back
hit
up the
that
middle.
sharp up the middle.
Casey hit the fastball to left.
Oh.
See if he elevates that fastball. No, maybe slider away. It's a fastball away. He's putting that ball exactly where he wants to.
Yeah. Yep.
Hitting the mitt was just off the plate, which a lot of times by design, 2 strikes, give him the chase.
Ooh, that's a filthy slider. That's the best slider he's thrown today. Billy should not feel bad there. He's smiling.
And the spot in which he threw it is just unhittable. Like, what are you doing with that other than dribbling it back, or
Billy's
You're
had
lucky.
some at bats where he's been upset, but I think that one he just would say that that was just a filthy pitch.
It looked like a fastball, low inside corner out of the hand, and then died.
It ended up like in the other batter's box somehow. Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head when you said that's the best pitch he's thrown today.
So Cork, after this, you get on a plane and you head back home.
Yep.
How has the trip been? What's your assessment? Win or lose, how do you feel about this experience?
I mean, not all too dissimilar to 2 years ago. So it's like the expectations were there. And
What do you think the highlight off the field has been? Has there been a particular moment? Did it involve an animal? I mean, just give us what do we think?
I think he missed the owl that we had at the house.
no, I didn't see an owl. I haven't had.
Oh,
many
that's
run-ins
right. You
with
weren't.
animals.
You weren't. Oh, I forgot.
You didn't have the sea lion experience.
You went on the
Probably
beach
my
with the sea
only,
lion experience.
My only animal experience is going into this dugout and seeing a lot of cobwebs, and spider webs in the corner, and thinking to myself, we're here in the middle of the desert. I don't think there's some friendly spiders spinning webs in this dugout.
These aren't daddy longlegs.
So I put my bag, it was right underneath the big spider web in the corner of the dugout, and I moved that as soon as I saw that.
Can you imagine you get home and you took a tarantula on the plane? You unpack everything and there's a big hairy tarantula in there? That would be kind of gross. Heather would not be happy with you.
I think the dogs would love it though. They'd be sniffing that thing. Physics would try to eat it.
I don't think you'd find a tarantula in the dugout. They're like desert, you know. They dig holes in the desert. But you probably find like a black widow or some
Yeah, I
kind of
was
nasty
thinking
wolf
like
spider.
like the Black Widow.
Okay, they're adding guys to the bottom, which is the first sign of a team that's relatively comfortable with where they're sitting in the game.
Or a team that needs a spark plug.
That's not going to happen this game. Not on the Mammoth side, unless we get. Why don't we send Rob Jones up there?
Right?
It give us another chance to comment about his socks and his whole outfit, his whole garb. That's always fun to do. Let's talk about Rob's appearance.
Ooh, that's a really good.
That's the pitch in the second game that he was dominating the opponents with.
And he backs it up with a decent two-seam or two that runs the opposite direction, so you
Yeah,
can't.
you're right. That's a really good point. His fastballs all move.
Wow. Casey had it played well.
Great glove.
Great glove. Looks familiar.
I'd give 50% of the credit to that one, to the glove.
He's giving some credit back here, I think,
Yep.
showing off the glove.
It is comic how big that glove is. Probably you can't see on the stream, but he's using my glove, and it's.
Not sure you can see Casey. You can see the glove, not Casey.
So maybe, if Nate can settle into a rhythm here, and we just gotta, we had the bases loaded
I'll
that
be
one
very
inning.
clear, these top four guys are trouble. So if he can get through these guys well, it's just a great hit. That was a great pitch.
Oh,
Casey
and
trying
Casey
to-
was maybe hoping for a turn on that instead of him peeling away towards the dugout.
I was a little mad about hitting this guy because he's like a lefty that kind of pulls off the ball, and I really like getting these lefties more than a lefty that stays in the ball. Looking left side with this guy behind it. I thought I could get it.
I speculated that, when you're not throwing 100%, sometimes it's a little bit harder to control the baseball. You're not following through with maximum effort.
Yeah, there's no mound. There's no excuses. No excuse to not hit him in the chest every time.
It's a good stop by Led. Do you know what happened on the play at the plate where it appeared that the guy was out by 30 feet, Yankee put the tag on, and he called him safe? What happened?
The tag.
Didn't put the tag on.
Oh,
Did he put the tag?
I didn't see
I
Chris
thought I saw.
complain.
Yeah, I thought I saw a tag, and then Yankee was like, "No, I didn't tag him."
Doesn't that feel like something that would have happened for us this summer?
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah. Because then there's 4 or 5 runs after that.
Yeah.
It's like that's what we avoided all year.
I mentioned that earlier. Randy talks about how lucky we got. Like every break, like that play happened for us. It didn't happen against us. It's not that it didn't happen. It actually happened, and it happened for us. There's a shot to left center.
Billy trying to fake out the runner on first,
Yeah.
despite the runner on first having a great angle, knowing that Billy wasn't even close.
I imagine there may be 1 or 2 Federal League people watching this stream if they're out there feeling a little schadenfreude. The fact that we're taking it on the chin right now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, good for you guys. Like, we've been on the other end of
Tasted that.
Yeah. We deserve a little bit.
Big pitch. That's a great. Yeah, that's where he needs to live.
We're in triple digits. They're not triple digits, but in the 30s. 31.
Rumors are starting to circulate about adding runners to the bottom of the order. Yeah. Might need to get a tweet out.
There's been tweets that have been sent.
Every time we mention a Tom possibility of getting in the game,
I am not
we
gonna-
gain a viewer.
I'm not going to bat.
We're now at
No,
34.
we're up to 34. So let's stop talking about it. Or maybe we keep talking about it. I just don't go in there. I'm not going to bat.
Friends are texting friends.
Yep.
Calls are being made.
Oh. Any ideas? Are we down 10 now? In that range.
It's got to be 8 or 9.
9.
Maybe somebody on the IW people on here know. Chat say. So they're calling. Bushy's calling for a Billy bomb, followed by a Court bomb, followed by a Schmitty bomb. We still got to score like 8 after that.
There we go. This is exactly what we needed.
Yep.
Should feel better.
Mark is saying no. Mark is saying he's not feeling Schadenfreude. He's saying he likes it when we win. He says, no, I like it when friends win. You want to say something back to Mark?
That's why we like Mark. Tell Mark I love him. I think you just did. Okay. Mark, thank you.
It's a little uncomfortable for a man to tell another man, so it's easier to just have me tell him, but I think he heard you.
Good. That's why I got to balance my distance from the phone to not have my voice carry to the umpire.
Yeah. So what do you think? Like, what has been the highlight of the trip away from? We've had some experiences. We've all seen some things in the house that maybe you can't unsee. But other than that, like, what's been?
Definitely, I got a text message or two from Mark Von Ruden. It just made my day. When you get a text from such a charismatic figure, it can't help but make your day.
Such a pillar of the Twitter sphere.
Exactly.
Right?
He's on the Mount Rushmore of awesome federally.
Would he be on
TCMABL.
your Mount Rushmore of TCMABL Twitter presences?
Ooh, the
Ruden
Twitter
on there?
presence.
I mean, you have to now.
Yeah,
you can't
yeah,
say no,
of
right?
course.
So, okay.
He would be one for sure.
You got to name 2 more then.
I gotta name 2 more.
Leave the 4th one open.
Well,
How many are there?
It depends on if you can you count Lars as one person, because he like built the TCMABL, he built the Federal League Twitter accounts, and so like Andy has the Grays account. So like, does that count as 3 choices or 1 choice? Do I have to choose which one?
Do we
of
have
the
to
3?
put Lars' face on 2 or 3 times on Mount Rushmore, like different ages?
I think you just go Mark and Lars.
Okay. You don't have to go with 3. I'm with you. I mean, Lars has been.
He is social. He's everything.
He was instrumental in the rapid growth of 2 leagues, I think, or at least the rapid social media growth.
One thing I will mention is the fortunate downfall of the Muskies Twitter account. I think my first year in the league, they had the account of the year, and it's been pretty mild the last couple years. They were wonderful.
Why do you suppose? So maybe they lost.
They must have lost their Twitter guy. Yeah. Oh, True Blue is another one.
Yeah.
True Blue's got a great.
I think that's the manager. He's got a really.
I faced the True Blue maybe 3 times now, and each time, whenever I get on base, I'm like, hey, are you the Twitter guy? Are you the Twitter guy? And it's always like, no, Twitter guy he's injured or he's hurt.
Maybe it's not the manager. True Blue. I always have a nice dugout.
We had him on Mabel Madness, and he just has like a kind of a Rob Jones type,
Yeah.
great personality.
Yeah, he's a sharp guy with a good sense of humor, and I think he's somebody who he doesn't take himself too seriously. And those are the fun guys. Right? Okay, we got Mike Lippert up here. 2 outs, 2 quick outs. Line out by Ludi, ground out by Randy. I know Randy's gonna be disappointed with that. Ludi hit the ball well. Straight back by Mike. So what are we gonna try to do next at bat here? Hit it over the fence.
He's starting me off speed, and like he's got a fast enough fastball where got me out in front of it a little bit. So I think I'm just going to ask you that question and do what you tell me to do. So what do I do next at bat time?
Hit a home run.
Oh, baby, he's there. Yes. That's wonderful.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. That's the spark. That's a Tom G turning on the Jets in 2020 to spark a 7-run rally.
If nothing else interesting happens this game, that might get the
Yeah.
Tom tip of the cap right there, right?
That's wonderful. That is why Liv needs to be in Mammoth lineups right there. He had a real tough game 1, but I think he might be the MVP again, because I think he had like 6 hits yesterday, and he's had he'll probably do something on the base paths here.
That's a good question. I mean, who would be? Has anyone stood out? I think it's got to be Nate Starr, doesn't it? I mean, Nate pitched. He's pitching again. He's hit consistently throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
You too. Like it's easy.
If Stark can hold these guys for 5 more innings,
Yeah.
then it's an easy choice, I think.
I agree with that.
But that's a big if. Like I said, they got hitters on their team. We just need Grill to make like a few more diving catches and flips behind his back. Speaking of grill, I should probably head over there.
Always welcome in the
hard.
booth.
It's hard to leave the booth when you get a taste of Tom.
It's like when the ex-president comes into the booth. It's like you're Barack Obama. Two outs, man on first. Mammoth way down.
Oh, darn it. Just missed it. He might get there. Oh.
So what has been so away from the field? Like the
You're really
meals?
pressing this
I
favorite
know,
thing, and I
yeah.
keep.
What about the meals?
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
talk about
Okay.
Bob.
Let's talk about Bob Gordon now that he's not here. Bob Gordon. If there's a roommate Hall of Fame, Bob's
Mount
one of the.
Rushmore. I think to say Mount Rushmore for roommates.
Okay, sure, but I'm gonna finish my thought. If there was a Hall of Fame for roommates, Bob would be in the category of like foregoing the standard 5-year waiting period
Right.
before he enters the ballot.
Right.
Okay, as soon as he retires from the roommate world, Bob's on the ballot, and he's a unanimous.
He has been remarkable. He's been remarkable as a roommate.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like I'm just gonna invite him to live with me. I know he has a family, but I hope. Oh, okay, he's starting to get within earshot here, so we might need to wait. I did like probably the moment of the day was when I had a thing I wanted to say, and I didn't want Casey to hear it. And Casey had just left the back, and he retired to his room, and then went into the bathroom. So it was like it's like 3 doors away and plenty of room. And then as soon as I say, "Hey, Casey's not here, so let's talk about this," then I like the moment I'm done talking about the topic, you turn over and Casey said, "Oh my God." he heard every word of it.
He was just standing there.
He was just
right?
standing there.
You look up and there he is just watching.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think what my favorite moment of the house was. I mean, we had 5 guys in the house, 6
Yeah,
guys.
you have to exempt Bob Gordon though from the
We had me, Nate Starr,
From the
Cork,
competition.
Casey, Bob.
Because you have like the top 5 moments of the house, so we got to think of the top non-Bob Gordon moments.
It's tough. There's been a lot of.
This is one of the things
fun,
where
small moments.
on the plane home, I'm gonna think of a clear answer to this.
Well, it's okay. You can't think of one.
Limerick then.
Yeah,
By the time you land.
So the umpire signaled bottom of the 5th. Did we get a score?
It's in the 9 range, I would guess.
Here, Cork, I'm gonna run to the dugout.
I'm on deck. I should probably run to the dugout. Maybe we should just ask Lip's dad.
He actually joined. A little. Want to read that? Let's go.
Oh, nice play.
Nice play on that hop. A little tricky hop on that ground ball that Hans gloves it, throws it, 1 up.
Yeah, Bushman has a great comment here. Grill might also just be one of my favorite human beings, baseball aside too. So I've got some bias there. LOL. And yeah, Grill is one of the people where we actually talked about this in the hot tub. It's like he's a person that before you meet it, you hear his legend and you think to yourself like, okay, there's no way a human lives up to this standard. Like people got to just be like, embellishing his personality and accomplishments. But so I didn't really know him other than being an opponent until last year, and we played all summer together, and he just kept raising the bar. And if you think highly of Grill, it's never highly enough. Like he's always exceeding expectations somehow, despite them being very high expectations.
He's great. I mean, Randy considers him maybe the nicest human being he's ever been around.
He's definitely on the Mount Rushmore.
He's on the Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore's
That's a
become-
really tough play. That's foul.
Drops in for single. Mount Rushmore's become the new high sky.
Ooh. Did we get a high sky yesterday?
I didn't do a lot of streaming yesterday. I don't know if Bob.
Yeah.
I was going to mention the high sky in the dugout after I struck out. I was going to blame it on the high sky, but I forgot to. So. Not a high sky today.
What was that? That's Utah.
Oh, no big called.
That's their stream.
Nate's doing a nice job, isn't he?
He's doing great. This is their heart of the lineup too. So. Wonder how many people listening to the stream are checking their phones right now. Where's this phone ringing from? It's coming from the stream, everybody.
That guy left, the third base jerk coach. I got uncomfortable there for a little bit.
Yeah. Did you hear much what was going on?
Yeah. I actually turned the camera on there in case something happened so that there'd be some video evidence because that guy was just being an asshole.
Wow. Oh, that's a good hit, but Grill's there. Easy buckets. Yes, sir.
That's it. Go get him, Clark. So Nate settled in. We need some runs. Rob Jones in the picture. Stork-like. He's been compared to a camel on this trip. Now a stork. He's walking over here. Oh shit. Just dropped the phone. He's flustered by this large bird like a person walking up here. Just compared you to a stork, Rob. We okay with that?
I mean, I'm aware of the camel.
You are aware of the camel.
So,
Which would you rather?
I think stork, fine.
Which are you more comfortable with, or which do you find less? I don't know.
I mean, a stork, there's a grace to a stork, right? Like they're not the ideal human proportions, but there's a certain grace. There's a quickness, you know, a fish strike.
That's true. You're right about that. Like, it's hard to come up with the redeeming quality for a camel, right?
Well, they're a workhorse, right?
Yeah. They don't need to drink water.
I bet that's probably a myth. But
Do they carry it in their humps? They have humps.
Yeah.
Having humps is not a good thing.
you think I'm more reminiscent of a one or a two-humped camel?
One. I would not disparage your name by
Now-
comparing you
now
to
I
a
take
two-hump
little
camel.
offense. I did. Why not the second hump? Now, what do I got to do to get a second
Because you're not that much camel. I don't want to give you that much credit. Like, you're camel-like, but not like maximum camel, because that would, you could turn that around and turn that into a compliment.
hump? I mean, could you think of a better creature suited for a desert environment as such that we're in?
No,
There you go.
it's a fair point. That's why we brought you along.
I mean, maybe a stork. I can't think of anything else. I'm in the way.
Well, we're watching you walk back. Admiring the frame and the calves, though we can't see them. Even though you're wearing pants that accentuate them, they don't exist.
He's wearing different socks tonight.
He's
Isn't
got-
that sterile?
Yeah, right. And the socks are also a little bit lavender. They're not really tan. I called him out on that too.
They're not lavender, they're more maroon.
Are they maroon? Yeah. Well, I mean, I like lavender is slightly more feminine, maybe, or
No, it's just more purple. Lighter shade.
so we got Matt Grill at the plate. Nate Stark has settled in. I believe we're in the top of the 6th inning. Mammoth are down by, do we know the score, Bob? 8 or 9? Mammoth have yet to play a run. Had a couple of chances. Had the bases loaded early on, 2nd inning. Grounded into a double play. We've had some base runners. We've hit into maybe 3 double plays. Facing a very, very good pitcher. Right. That might have been his best fastball right there.
As far as velocity,
Yeah. Looked like he tried to throw that with a little extra mustard. I want to suggest that it would be good to tire this guy out, but I suspect they have another power arm to close a game out. They strike me as they have enough guys on their team, and they seem to be good enough ball players that it's hard to believe they don't have another high-quality arm to come in if they need him. It just fought off a tough pitch off the plate. Let's see what he comes back with. That was right down the middle. He's going to get there. He's going to get there. Base hit. A little bit down off the barrel, closer to the end of the bat. Hit the pitcher in his shoe. Pitcher is smiling. It feels like if the Mammoth are going to make a charge, it might have to commence this inning. We got a second leadoff getting on base. We got the best hitter in the Federal League at the plate. Got one of the best hitters in the TCMBL on deck in Hans. Let's see what Cork can do against this fastball. It's a good take. That pitch was an excellent pitcher's pitch. It's not a pitch Cork is going to do anything with unless he goes the other way with it. Because Cork is looking for something to turn on here. Cork's power is left to right center. Just got sawed off there. Pitch was up and in. Cork was not trying to go the other way. He just got sawed off. 2 strikes. Not an enviable position to be in. This guy's good enough. He's got 3 pitches. To elevate a fastball here, you may think Cork's got a slow bat after that swing. We'll see. Fastball up and away. Ball 1. Cork confirming that the count is indeed 1 and 2. Pitch up and away.
Wow.
Cork had the right idea with that pitch. That pitch was up and away. Yeah.
Would you be able to send me the game that we played against them
Yeah.
onto my email or something like that?
Yeah. It's. Can I tell you the channel it's on? Because I don't think we can pull it down off of Twitch. So it's.
They have.
Will you have it on YouTube later?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. But so, can you write down your email, or I can give you my email and send
Okay.
me your email?
Let's see. Towards the end of the day. Or you know what? I'll go ahead and send you a text if you give me your number.
Sure.
Yep,
Okay.
just need
Six,
Let's
sure.
see. Okay, what is it?
612
612
245
45
7000.
7000. 612 245.
7,000. Yep. And we won't have it up. I mean, we won't be able to get it on YouTube until we get home, so it'll probably be a little bit. But yeah, when we do that, I'll send it your way.
Your name is
My name's Tom.
Tom.
You might have to put up with us talking behind the plate, and
Well, that's fine.
you
I
can mute it.
I just wanna show my kids. 'Cause I have a 26-year-old and a 20-year-old that plays with me too when I do an 18 and all.
Yeah.
So I just want to show it to them.
For sure.
Thanks a
No,
lot,
no,
huh?
for sure,
All right,
sure.
thank
Yep.
you.
So you sent me your. You
I'll go
texted
ahead
me.
and I'll text you in a bit, and I'll send you my email. And then,
Very good.
Okay. All right.
Very good. I felt like you did everything you could do with that pitch, Cork. Up and away. I didn't feel like you. Yeah, I didn't feel like you didn't try to pull it.
Just need a little more to center or something.
Yeah, I mean the problem was
His
he got
0-2 pitch was very good.
right. The problem is you got down 0-2, and at that point he's good enough pitcher where he's not going to make a mistake. You got to hit his pitch. I felt like you hit his pitch about as well as you can hit his pitch. It was just his pitch.
What was the call on my first swing? Was that a strike, you think? It was a little up and in. Fouled it off to the left field.
Over there,
Yeah.
would that have been a strike had you not swung? I thought it was in enough on your hands that I don't know. It was a good pitch, though, right?
Oh man, it's getting better.
Just blew a fastball behind it, right past Hans Hegerness. Here's Nate. Yeah, I said, like, if we're gonna start a stampede or start a charge, I think it needed to happen this inning. I mean, we still have time, but
I swear it'd be nice to know what inning it is.
I'm quite sure it's bottom of the 6th. He put like
top?
top because he put it the 5 hands down,
Okay.
5 down before this when those guys were batting.
And they have 8. Or 9.
Do you know how many they have?
Yeah, they have 8 or 9 probably.
Scores 8 or 9 to nothing. When the top of the 6th. Seen that a couple times from Nate today. Pitch off the plate, rolls over. Pitcher's just doing a really nice job, right? Pat Ralston is suggesting that that's enough from that pitcher.
Really go for a Sue Genrich pep talk right now.
She would be feeling a sense of mounting dread that she'd have to sit in the car with me.
She would not be looking forward to the car ride home.
I'm wondering how my cat is doing. I'm honest.
Yeah, so what do you do with the cat?
Yeah, we checked
Leave
in
it
with
on-
Dan to make sure that he did get over there.
Well, my cat can afford to lose some weight, so if the cat starves for a couple days, I mean, I don't want to, that's animal cruelty. I don't want my cat to starve.
Tom, that might be canceled.
There's just fencing.
Oh, sorry. No, Dan's taking care of the cat.
Did you weigh Bruno before you came before you left?
Bruno would eat his own hind leg if there was no food, because he'll eat anything.
Is Bruno a people cat or a hates people cat?
No, very much a people cat.
Loves the snuggle.
Unlike his owner. Again, unlike his owner.
So I'm definitely a dog person, but
Yeah.
I've had a couple good cats in my life that, like, you go over to someone's house and when you get the snuggly cat, I can then see why people are cat people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a dog person too. I got a cat because I didn't want mice. I live in an old drafty house in northeast Minneapolis. And I got the cat to solve the mouse situation, and then I thought I need to get a dog to solve the cat situation. But then it just keeps on ratcheting up. Where's it at? Like then
You
when do
hate
you get
mice more than you like cats.
yeah, what do you get to handle the dog situation? Oh, that's what they said. So I stopped at the cat.
Or give a mouse a cookie. You're gonna want something else.
You have mouse cookie, we'd have give a pig a pancake.
I mentioned that you were a nationally ranked Catan player at one point in this stream, which every time I say that, I'm surprised to hear those words coming out of my mouth. One, that there is such a thing as a national ranking of Catan players, and two, that I actually know somebody who is nationally ranked. But here we are talking to you. It's a ground ball to Hans. Let's see if we can turn this. Bobbles a little bit.
Wait. Wow.
Not
As a
not-
gift?
Yeah, not a strong effort by number 20 going down the line,
Or 18.
or 18. We've never played a team that had to take their foot off the gas. That's true, for sure.
Are they at a
29
point where
people.
they're going station to station? I mean, is that what we're...
It might be 10-0. So if it is, makes sense.
I heard. Yeah.
I mentioned, like I was talking, maybe you were there. Like I felt like coming into this game, we hadn't seen our ceiling yet. Like we hadn't
No,
seen a
definitely
team that I feel like would beat us most of the time. We faced really good teams that we might go 500 against, but not a team that's going to beat us most of the time. This is that team, I think.
It's so weird. We haven't seen a good pitcher until today. We haven't seen a good defense until today. So that
Yeah.
we've probably seen a team or two that have been as good at hitting. We've seen some very solid
The
hitting
Pirates.
teams.
The Pirates could really hit.
And that last team, those first 4 guys,
Yeah.
were very good. And it's not like they dropped off much either.
It's really the depth of this lineup, right?
Yeah.
It's Mammoth-like in that respect.
Mammoth depth though is like, guys just put the ball in play and they make things happen. Like some of these teams are like, they're 8-9 hitters ceiling are real high.
Another ground ball up the middle, gets by Hans. It's another base hit.
Stark walked right in front of my line of view there. Was it a bad hop or just to his left?
It was to his glove hand side, but he couldn't get to it.
Right, it was not too close. Oh yeah. Yep. That's a struggle with a guy like Hans when I'm pitching. Go so slow, but work out front of the plate. So a lot of people go up the middle, but then the next guy will pull it right down the line. So it's like, do you play in the hole or do you play up the middle? A team like this will hit it hard either way.
Yeah, I felt like I saw, when you started pitching, I felt like you were kind of going back to the game 2 approach where they get trips. And I felt like you're going to get through the lineup once with that. And then the second time through, these guys struck me as good enough hitters that it was going to be tough.
I'd say their 2 hardest hits were Billy caught them. Maybe one got to the right. So like their hard hits we were beating outs on, and it was their jump that they scored 5 runs on. Obviously there are exceptions to that statement.
Nate Stark is just doing a great job. Ooh, that's a good spot. That pitch. It says 38, 33. That might be
Of those 33, how many of them are really happy to be watching a Mammoth blowout right here?
Well, yeah, Mark Van Ruden is one who isn't.
So 32, you think? Bushy's probably, I feel like Bushy's positive enough. So maybe 31 of them?
Well, my mom isn't happy to see this.
Okay, so we're down to 30.
Yeah. No, I think, you hope that most people recognize that we're kind of representing Minnesota baseball here.
That's true.
There's a certain amount of reflected glory.
Wait, what happened? He stepped on the plate?
What he called it? I thought he said time.
Yeah. Must have stepped on the plate.
We are the only team east of the Rockies in this 35-plus division, so we come in with the handicap of not. A lot of these guys are probably playing some kind of season right now. We've got some built-in disadvantages given our climate, so we've made it to the championship game. This is not a small achievement, and it makes Federal League teams look better when we do that. The TCMBL look better, right? But I know what you're saying. I think I don't doubt that there's if there's any Federal League people watching, that there's probably a handful that are glad to see the Mammoth get their comeuppance, or what they think of as their comeuppance.
Like fed bottom feeders. That guy's real happy tonight.
Yeah, I think so. I think if the fed bottom feeders could have seen the scene at our house this weekend, he would realize that we're at least as much about the social aspect to this team as we are about winning and losing. There is a perception that winning and having a good parking lot game is mutually exclusive, and it's not. You can have both. I know most of the guys, there are a handful of guys in this team where winning is really important, but for most of the guys in this team, they're like Randy. They're here for the fellowship and for the baseball win or lose. Cork is having a little bit of a meltdown over here. A lot of electronics are strung up along this back fence here.
Defense is slowly making their way out. Nobody's making a hurry.
be a good time to stop the old GoPro recording.
You're gonna get up again, aren't you? That will be the time you hit a home run.
I did miss about half of my Federal League home runs.
Yeah.
So, you know what?
Go stay hot, Casey.
You go and you drop a couple $100 on a piece of electronics, and then you don't even use it. It makes you feel a little bit, it makes the wife ask some questions.
Well, I did that too.
Like
Fortunately,
that nice
Cat
toy you wanted that.
Cat can't talk, so Cat has asked me why did you spend $500 on the GoPro you never used once? Instead, I just gave it to Court.
A lot of nonverbals from Bruno. I imagine just a lot of cat eye rolling.
A lot of disdain from the cat. Like, how could you?
You're feeding me this food while you're buying a GoPro?
Would you look at my litter box? Can I at least get a self-cleaning litter box, for Christ's sake? There's Casey. Oh, kind of a trademark. The trademark of the bat line drive. Casey's walking back towards the plate like, I'm going to try that again.
Do over.
I got a good laugh from the catcher umpire. He's like, I'm going to do that again, okay? I like to see that we're taking this drubbing with good grace.
Wow.
That's a good shot.
Yeah. That was a nice play.
We need to hit it less hard.
Ryan Lutzka. Ryan's bat came alive last game, had a couple of hits. You got Randy coming up. So I asked Bob who his favorite Mammoth are to watch hit. Not necessarily who's going to...
The Mount Rushmore of Mammoth hitters.
Yeah,
if
not necessarily like who are the best hitters, but who do you like watching the most? And you were number one for both of us, of course. But number two for me is Randy. I like watching Randy swing the bat.
Tom and I just got to have a thing for lefties. Stark was also on that list.
Yeah.
Stark's real fun to watch. My Mount Rushmore would definitely have Grill. I love Grill's everything he does. I love his on the mound. I love him in the batter's box.
He's so composed. He's just a composed person.
His offensive side probably gets lost in his. If you rank his pitching, defense, offense, everybody would probably go pitching, defense first. But he's no slouch offensively. It's fun to watch.
I think your pitching gets overshadowed because you're such a good hitter, and I think his hitting gets overshadowed a little bit because he's such a good pitcher. It goes both ways.
And then so then we got to talk about Hans in that regard too, because all I hear is how good of a pitcher he is, but he's too good at short to let him pitch. And so I told Randy, I'm like, this year you got to let Hans pitch because I want to see Hans pitch.
I know Randy asked him if he'd be interested in pitching in this tournament, and Hans basically said no. I don't know if it was just that blunt, like, how dare you ask me no, but I think he's giving his arm a break. He hasn't been building it up, so I think he was willing to give him a couple innings. Like last night might have been the game where Hans got in there, but we had a better option.
Some would say the best possible option. Oh,
We haven't talked about that home run on this stream.
Mount Rushmore of home runs.
Longest home run I've ever seen hit, especially from a pitcher's mouth.
There's only two heads on that Mount Rushmore right now for home runs that have been memorable this
Oh,
tournament.
darn it.
That's true. I gave one of them up, and then the other one was my frenemy, who I had to preface every time I referred to it as a little league home run, so his head wouldn't get too big. That's Rob Jones. Rob Jones, in all seriousness, that might have been my favorite moment of the tournament. If we're talking about on field, I said this before, I got chills in the center field when I saw him hit that gap and I knew he was off to the races. I was so happy. It's funny to be that happy for somebody else's performance, but last time I felt that happy, like strangely overjoyed, was in, it's gonna be a ground ball.
Darn it. Real easy hop.
It was a Lumberjacks game in Arizona, and John Wadurski was at the plate. And it took me a little bit to get to know John, but John and I have had conversations since. I really like John, and he hit this home run at that park that was comparable to the home run that was hit off me last night. I was so happy for him to see him hit that home run. I felt that way a couple days ago about Rob Jones. I give him a hard time, but he's one of my favorite people. even though he looks like a stork.
Do you ever feel happy when I hit a home run, Tom?
I'm overjoyed when you hit a home run, Corey.
When you hit home runs, Bruno gets fancy feet.
When good things happen on the baseball field, it's a good night for the cat. When bad things happen, the cat knows to give me some space. He knows it's going to be a dry food night. He's like, meow, meow, meow. You know, some dejected meowings. Just like, meow. I do actually, sometimes when I get home after a good game, I'll tell it to my cat. I gotta tell someone, and the cat's right there.
Maybe one of my new goals in life is to be elevated to cat level in Tom's life.
I'll let you know if I ever tell the cat story about what you did on the field. It hasn't happened yet, doesn't mean it won't though. It can't be really special real quick. Your ceiling is so high. We talked, Casey brought this up and it was a great conversation starter. Like, what is it you have to do to be celebrated on the Mammoth? Like, how did he put it? Like, what do you have to achieve before guys are going to get excited for you?
Like, get off the bench cheering.
Yeah, and like for me would be, I think would be like an extra base hit. That's going to get guys
I'm
really
off the
pumped
bench
up.
cheering anytime.
Yeah.
Tom walked.
Every swing, okay? He swings, it's...
But for you, you literally have to hit maybe even more than a home run. Like that home run you hit off of Jamie Steinberg against Lakeville, right? You got to do something like that almost to move the needle because you've hit so many home runs now.
I appreciate you bringing that up on the stream, Tom.
Well, that was another moment where I was just so excited. Like I was actually out of the dugout jumping around. It was so exciting to see you hit that home run. I mean, we played with Jamie down in Arizona. Not only is he maybe the second best pitcher in the Federal League behind Meyer, he's also a really good dude. He's a really great guy. But to see, two of my favorite people go head to head and one of them come out, it's not like I was relishing seeing Jamie lose that exchange, but that was an exciting moment. Starting to empty the bench on the other side.
Another thing that is worth mentioning on the fun things to watch on the Mammoth is a Dan Smolik double or triple. When Dan Smolik hits an extra base hit, that gets everybody on the bench out. Okay?
The reason I get into that so much is Dan carries a certain amount of anxiety, and it was at bats and in the batter's box. He reminds me of me a little bit where he doesn't go up there with a tremendous amount of confidence. So when he gets an extra base hit, to pop out to Rob at first, I've seen him, he'll slide in the third and then he'll stand up and he'll look up at the sky like, thank God I just did that. It's more relief than exaltation. And I identify with that so much. So I love it when he does it. I love it when he gets extra base hits. He's so easy to root for.
And he's always usually a lobby for a better spot in the batting order. Dan always goes up to Randy, what are you batting me 6th for? Get me down. I need
right,
put
he's
me 7, 8.
He's arguing himself further down in the order. And he's a very, very, very good hitter. He was a Lumberjacks cleanup hitter for a lot of years. Excellent fisherman too. He took me fishing on a lake that won't be disclosed, the name of it. I caught we estimated at over 7 pounds, biggest bass I've ever caught. He really knows his fishing. This is a leadoff guy, right?
Yep.
You were impressed with him? You were impressed with the top 4?
Yeah, and
Top
Stark
6.
was not impressed. He's dispatched them
He's done
without much problems.
I mean, I think they've diluted their lineup a little bit. They brought in some guys off the bench, but yeah.
Still, when you get to 1 through 4 here, even 5, 6.
I mean, I'm happy we're doing this and that this didn't turn into like a 21-0.
Yeah. Has Stark given?
I don't think he's given up a run. I think it's been 9 or 10 for a couple innings now. Good arm from the first base umpire.
Ludi threw the ball into lip there. I don't know if you saw it on the stream, but the batter looked like he was gonna hit it. These guys are pretty fun.
They're hitting everything else, so why not that, right? Let's see.
Grill, great.
Matty Grill deep in the hole, flings it over that.
After throwing 9 innings, that's a very tough.
10 innings, right?
10 innings. Jeez.
Nate doing a really nice job.
Oh yeah, we had Dahl here.
Are you gonna get up this inning?
If Dahl's up, I will. I think it's Dahl Grill me, right? I might be way off. Do you remember all the last? Oh yeah, like didn't Stark get caught?
Yeah, Nate. I think Nate grounded out.
So we have Billy.
No, Billy hit it hard too.
Yeah,
Ludi.
Really hit it at second base.
That's right. I think maybe.
And then
we're
Ludi, I
after-
think, made out, right?
No, I think we're leading off Ludi.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. Gosh. I didn't. Sometimes you forget there's a baseball game going on when Tom entices you.
No, you forget it.
Entrances you with these stories.
It's a function of sitting back here, and I lose. I mean, we have one job to do, and that's to keep track of the score in the innings, and we fail miserably.
Everything's an estimation.
So-
Inning score.
It is.
So to recap, it's around
Yeah.
10-0, and around the 7th.
Here comes Casey.
Casey will know.
Hey guys.
We got a score in inning.
7-0. I don't know the
Oh.
score. So just about to start the comeback right now.
You almost got a do-over there, huh? That's hilarious. Can I just do this again? What did you say? Exactly?
I think I said something like, "Can I try that again?" 'Cause I hit it and I was just like, that pitch, just missed it. Held the bat the whole time. Just turned around.
What do you think?
What do you think, guys? You cool with that? They liked it.
It's a pelican in the background, lurking.
The animal choice changed.
We moved from camel to stork, and now we moved to pelican. That was compared to a turtle earlier by Casey. That just-
A mutant turtle.
what's that?
You recall Nate Stark's Pelican Limerick?
No, do you? It remembers
The hell I can.
Hell I can. That's how it
Can.
ends.
I got it, I guess.
I think that's one thing we should maybe offer for like a Patreon subscriber would be like the B-side limericks. All the limericks we didn't publish. Those would go for a lot of money, I think.
Yeah, a
Weak
lot.
material in there.
A lot didn't make it.
I could like take one straight to the.
Tom Genrick alone had, I think, 7 limericks we had to choose from.
I compared my glove work to that of a proctologist, and we thought that might be a little raw, but that was actually my favorite one.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
there's
That's
a shot to
beautiful.
right
Keep
center.
running, Lip.
Here we go.
It's a sound we haven't heard very often coming off of a Mammoth bat. Solid shot to right center. That's Lip's best hit of the tournament right there. Off the best pitcher we've seen. It's good to see Mike do that. Mike absorbs a lot of innings behind home plate. It's kind of a thankless task sometimes. But what's the score? Is it only 7? Oh, it's only 7?
Yeah, they scored like 1-1-5. You know, and that 5-run inning was just we gave them
Yeah.
several, so it could be more like 3.
I mean, the thing is, they've diluted their lineup a little bit. They've added some guys, but Nate has shut them down.
Yeah.
Like if Nate starts instead of Tom and Nate pitches this way, I think they have their A group in there longer. And it's not like
These
Tom
guys
pitched
still
poorly.
pitching, so you wonder who else do they have. I mean, I'm guessing with that roster they have more.
Yeah, I
At
would.
what point do they just ride it until it?
I suspect they were saving this guy the whole time for the championship, right?
It's solid.
He's good, right? Case.
I mean, he can pick up the ball pretty quick. The ball looks bigger than an average baseball, but you know it's coming in pretty well. He's got live arm. And, you know, it's not better in Arizona.
You did see better in Arizona. Yeah. His slider looks. He's got a slider. It doesn't look particularly tight. He threw one nasty slider to Billy, but have you seen the slider? Have you noticed it?
I might have taken an off speed at one point, but nothing that I've swung at her. Just caught pin called for a strike.
I think that's it. Yeah. He tries to put it on a certain part of the plate.
So I can't remember if I've seen that, but it was, if I did, it was that same spot.
Nice to get on the board here. It's a chopper. It's gonna be a tough play. I think the shortstop's really good.
Can't be happening.
Yep. My measure of a good amateur level shortstop is a shortstop who can make that throw on the run. I mean, it's not that hard to do, but plenty of guys in our level who can't throw on the run like that. Like Seth can throw on the run really well. He's got the body control. That's a Skeeter shortstop. Of course, Hans and Grill can too.
Did you talk about your glove at all?
Oh yeah.
I,
You showed it after I held it up.
the glove made a nice play out in right a couple innings ago. Yeah. Yeah, I noticed after you caught it, it looked like you were kind of
Like, hey,
presenting it.
Here it is. When Tom's talking about the glove, this
You
is
put it
what
up
he's
and
talking
you,
about.
the rest of you sort of disappeared into the glove abyss.
Well, there's a shadow cast.
Maybe you should think about going to the Dick's and getting yourself the biggest softball glove you can find and telling people, I bought it in the baseball section. I don't know what the problem is.
I'm wondering, we should measure it, but I just don't know what tool to measure it with.
Do they make rulers that big?
Yeah.
You know, there's rulers, those are like 12 inches. There's
You get a
yardsticks. There's, I don't know if that would cover it.
If I do watch the video of me pitching last night, I think the primary reason I'd watch, well, one, to see that guy's home run, but also just see what it looks like me on the mound with that glove. It's like the sail of a boat.
Well, and the way that you set up with it, where you drop your hands right over the midsection.
The ball is hidden for a long time.
It's almost like, you know, a black box graphic placed over inappropriate, not suitable for work. Man, midsection.
Oh, we got Cork on deck. Matt Grill's approach with the bat, at least the hand placement, is similar to Chris Yankees. It's very short, very compact. Has the hands tight. See what he does here. Not much of a load. Great at bat.
Whistle well. Yeah, I would really like to be able to do like a 2-finger whistle there. You know? Yeah,
I don't like to put my fingers in my mouth.
that's true. I don't either.
We hit a 3-run home run here. Are we back in the game? Are you prepared to say that?
We're not out of the
7-3.
game.
For sure. That's part of the lineups after Clark.
Well, it is. I mean, it's 2-3-4, right?
Yeah, so you're down 4 at that point, and you score 4 runs the mid of your order.
We've seen a lot of long fly balls from Cork this tournament. They're seeding the base runner at second base. Mike Dahl moves up to second. A lot of long fly balls. Number of ground balls through the right side. Couple of line drives. Just not a Cork shot to right that has the Cork launch angle and the Cork distance. Still waiting to see that. Ooh, that might have been his pitch.
Do you need advice from him right now? Had something to say?
I don't I don't know what I would say to Cork. Like I wouldn't be comfortable giving Cork advice about hitting necessarily, and
How's the pitcher going to approach him? Do you think?
I don't know that he recognizes who he's facing, so I don't think he's going to be that careful with him. It's end of the bat. I think that's going to drop, but it's going to drop. It's going to knock lip in. All right, Cork does the job. He gets the RBI. It's a pitch down off the plate. I think it was a changeup. Cork kind of scooped it off the ground, lifted a lazy fly ball to right center that dropped. Scores a run. Mammoth are on the board. That's one. Suggestion from the fans that we bat around now. That's a good suggestion. Knowledgeable baseball fans. Pitch is down. Had a couple of wives and girlfriends travel, probably mostly wives. Not like girlfriends of guys who also has wives. I'm saying if they're married, they brought their wives. If they're not married, they brought a girlfriend. Just to be clear.
Digging yourself out there. Could use a significant other.
That's right. That's going to be in play, and it's going to be caught by the first baseman. Somebody was saying something that made our bench laugh. I don't know what it was. Randy's still exhorting his players to get that run in. Randy, perpetually a positive presence and positive energy. What do you think about Randy as a manager? You enjoy him, right?
Yeah, Randy's great.
Ooh, there's a shot to right center. That's going to fall. Cork's going to score. That's going to put us... Nate's going to wheel the three. The right fielder's not really giving much of an effort. 7-3. Tell you what, if we can get 2 more runs here, it's hard to feel like you're in a game when a pitcher's kind of quieted you the way this guy's quieted us, but he's not overpowering us. He's just making really good pitches. So if he tires a little bit, control drifts a little bit, and he starts missing with those pitches, our guys are going to hit it. That was a nice shot to right center by Nate Stark to drive in 2, 7-3.
That's his go-to, is that power to the gap.
Yep. He's definitely left center to right center. We've seen a lot of shots to left center.
Yeah.
It's a good pitch. He buried that down and in on Case. I think I'll be a little surprised if he challenges Casey with the fastball. I think Casey's put some good swings on the ball. He had a single earlier. Threw that one way off the plate.
He's throwing a lot of pitches. He could be getting tired.
He could be.
I don't know what type of shape these pitchers are in, being from the warmer climate.
There's a pitch right down the pipe. That's one that Casey's going to want back. Darn it. That pitch was down in the zone.
Yeah.
It might have been not quite as good as I made it sound. Pretty low. What do we got for an inning? Is it 7th? Bottom of 8. Okay.
One more turn.
Almost done. Yeah, Bushy talking. I'm just checking the last comment. Bushy talking about the momentum. It does feel like, I thought that was actually the 7th inning. It's a little late for that rally, but get that guy from third home and could see the team do something in the ninth. So did we settle on supper tonight, Bob?
So what do you feel like?
I don't know.
I mean, we just want to do something easy, like throw some brats on the grill, or
Brats sound pretty good. I mean, whatever it be, it should be easy for you, or for maybe you shouldn't even do it.
well, I can't go out like not do. I
You
mean,
can't go out with a whimper.
Yeah.
But
I have a couple ideas. So.
bratwurst sound good. Shoot, is that my phone? No, I still got energy.
How many opportunities we'll have to grill some food and eat it outside? So.
Yeah, I mean, let's not go sit in a restaurant. Let's do something somewhere where we got to go back to the post-apocalyptic winter skate back home. 2 days. We all fly back tomorrow. Not all of us. Cork's going back tonight. Rob stayed with it. Nice play by Rob Jones. That's where his rather unusual dimensions paid off. He was able to reach for the ball that kind of squirted out of his glove. I feel like I've been a little hard on Rob. I mean, Rob is such a good... Rob rides me mercilessly, so I really shouldn't feel guilty about kneeling him a little bit. Hopefully...
We sort of talked to you about how sometimes it hurts his feelings when we were sitting by the fire last night after you went to bed. You're like, it's like, finally I get a break from...
He doesn't know when to quit. He's just, you know?
The only reason Rob's the way he is.
I get it. I mean, I said this before, Rob. Nobody delivers a needle better than Rob Jones. He's the best at it, and he knows. He just knows how to needle me like nobody else. It's constant. It's just
And it's very
endless.
unexpected too.
Yeah,
you think you're in the clear.
Yeah,
You then.
he's really witty. He's just a very, very witty dude, and he makes me laugh so much. I enjoy
Even at your
being.
expense,
I enjoy being the pincushion because he just makes me laugh. There's a foul ball.
Randy's going for it. Look at that run.
Randy makes a running catch.
No quitting the man.
It's 7-3.
7-3, you know, this game isn't that close, but it's nice to just put a couple on the board, and if we end up falling 7-3, that's a good showing.
Or we score 4 in the bottom half of the next inning.
I mean, why not, Clark? We're here, right?
Front!
I'm already going to be late for the flight, so who cares?
Are you?
No, you got it's 6:50, right?
Yeah.
3 o'clock.
3?
Yeah.
We're talking about bratwurst tonight. I know you won't be there. Sound pretty good to you?
I can go for a bratwurst picture or two.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
We might go live with dinner back at the house later.
I will tell Casey if we have bratwurst. Casey's, what's his Twitter? Casey Tales. or something?
KCMPLS.
Casey MPLS. Casey's been tweeting out some pictures, including one of a sea lion that almost ragdolled Bob Gordon. I'm not going to go so far as to say there's a shot up the middle. I don't think that sea lion had a taste for man flesh, but he would have ragdolled you. And maybe developed a taste for man flesh if we
Where
had
it
just
started, the seals took over.
carcasses have been picked clean by the seabirds. We would have had to somehow explain that to Steph back home. Steph, I don't know how
why
to
you
tell
all
you
did
this.
nothing.
We lost Bob to a sea lion, and then his carcass was picked over by seabirds of some species. Not much left, Bob.
We think. We're not quite sure we left.
We were late. We needed to get
We had to get to our VRBO, so
Our meter was only good until 2.
sea lion, the affair of the sea lion happened in San Diego. Bob was chased up the beach by a breaker and almost into the gaping maw of a sea lion that was just lolling on the beach, perpetrating a tan. Sea lion gave him this yawp of, dude, what are you doing? It's amazing. You go down to what was the place you went to, Bob?
La Jolla?
La Jolla. Went to La Jolla. Had this really nice. It was our first meal here, so the whole trip was in front of us. We're all in good spirits.
Nice pitch.
We had a nice ocean view, but we didn't know exactly how to get down to the ocean. But of course, the ocean is covering the entire horizon. And Casey asked the waitress, "Well, how do we get down to the ocean?" Which we transmuted into Casey asking the waitress, "Where's the ocean?" Which we thought was the first time that waitress had ever been asked, "Where's the ocean?" It's over there. You can't really miss it. But she gave us directions down to the beach.
Keep walking west.
It's like a little insider knowledge of a secret staircase.
Yeah, she gave us some intel on a secret staircase, which we thought was the staircase itself looked like something that they'd film a movie in. Nate trotting over to first, yeah.
Sharing the love.
So anyway, we went down to this beach where there were sea lions just lolling about on the beach, and that's where Bob nearly lost something.
Maybe a little bit of pride, if any.
You were shaking. I mean, it was funny. You came running over, and you're like, that was a little scary.
It was the bark of the sea lion that sort of got my attention, that I was in the wrong place. The four of you, however, were still flat-footed, not really willing to jump in, just pointing out how close my demise was actually.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'll do a lot for my teammates, but I don't know that I'm gonna throw myself between
The strongest man amongst us, not willing
Draw
to
the line there.
get in front of a sea lion for me, so.
It's like
We
those
know.
movies. Throw myself in the path of the bullet, just come from out of the frame between Bob and the sea lion, flying through the air. No!
He's got a pitch.
Not Bob.
I don't want to throw.
So this pitcher's going to make it if he gets through Bill Hausman, Ryan Lutzka, and what, Dahl?
Randy.
Randy. Oh, we're going to see Randy one more time. If he gets through those three, he'll have pitched a complete game against the Cactus League 35-plus champion Mammoth. So, tip of the cap to this pitcher.
Don't forget,
Did a really nice job.
defending IBEX champions.
Right.
That championship gets lost in the 2021 season, but
It's a
it
tragedy.
might be the one we're most proud of.
Just expertly run by the guys, whoever's behind that. There was IBEX activity yesterday. I forgot completely about it.
Keep up.
I'll go home and I'll.
Usually on top of all those scores.
If you're listening and you're involved in IBEX, I will be posting the stats again probably Thursday. I got a lot of stat crunching I got to do when I get back. So. And if you don't know what we're talking about, check out indoorbaseballexperience.com. It's an indoor baseball league that uses HitTrax technology. Runs out of Minneapolis, 20 teams, a ton of fun. indoorbaseballexperience.com. That should be the sponsor for this stream. I suggested that we were going to have it sponsored by eggs because we eat so many eggs. Ooh, I thought that was
That a
gonna
baby
turn that out.
Billy. You beat that.
Gotta beat that out. It's a base hit.
Very nice play by the shortstop to even make it close. It was a clean single, all turned on.
We're down by 4, right?
Down by 4. That's shades of a Tom Genrick turning on the Jets.
No, I was just thinking, like,
Moment.
we have a guy on this team who's capable of hitting a grand slam home run.
Randy Smolik. Smolik hit the first grand slam of. Oh my God. He might have been on right there. Did you see that?
Yeah, I mean,
Why is he-
my position here is if you're not going to steal,
Cut.
don't.
Yeah.
If you're not going to steal, don't take a lead off like you're going to try to steal. Just a safe lead off is all that's required here. Unless you're going to try to steal, but why would you steal?
Genrick.
Stand on the base.
Welcome to the school of conservative baseball.
The funniest is when I'm literally 6 inches off the base and they throw over there. I look at them like, what are you thinking? I tell the first baseman usually when I get there, look, I'm not running. You don't even have to hold me out. I'm not lying either. I get to chat with them when they hold me on though, so I like that. We chatted, right? Like one of the first conversations we had, I ran into you. You were Hound and I was
No, it was Rams versus Indians.
Rams versus Indians. Now the Tomcats.
I was on. I just.
You probably just hit a home run or something.
No, I was nowhere near the lineup, so I hustled out to first base to catch you running in from left.
Yeah, and then
you were going to the first base
because
dugout.
we had exchanged an email or two.
Hey, you're Tom.
Yeah. I said, you're Tom.
I've heard.
I am Tom.
Tom's in the Matt Grill category of no matter what your expectations of Tom are, you're always going to be. He's going to exceed those expectations.
Well, you know,
you can't overestimate
your
the type
name,
of person Tom is.
Your name is Tom, so I'm going to agree with that. Come on, Ludi.
Oh, Billy. I think he might have thought it was ball 4. He's got a here and
Yes, but and then there's no reason to get off.
What's it count? Is it full? 3-2?
It's got to be full.
Okay. Yeah, I think Billy saw Ludi starting towards first, and he assumed it was ball. Come on, Ludi.
Good.
Good at bat, Ludi.
Come on, Randy. Oh, let's get Lip up with the bases juiced. That might cement Lip's MVP status for the term.
What if we get Lip up with the bases empty with the
Hey.
score of 7-6?
Hey,
Mm.
then it's another MVP
Then he
conversation.
can set the table here.
I might almost like that better.
So do you, I've talked to Randy before I mentioned this, he really enjoys getting up there in moments like this. He's not a guy who shrinks from these moments. He actually really likes being in these situations. Do you?
Yeah.
You don't get too apprehensive. You don't feel like it affects your performance.
Yeah.
Performance anxiety doesn't cut into your output. Here's Rob Jones. What's that?
The game state.
Yeah.
7-3.
7-3. First and second, nobody out.
That's right.
All right.
Top of 9.
Rob Jones checking in.
Not getting into it.
We're on.
Hustling back to the dugout. I mean, if we're looking for a home run, maybe it's time for Rob Jones to hit.
This probably would represent the greatest inning in Mammoth history.
Oh no!
Again, he's missed that.
Watch it! Go! 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 Go!
It's gonna drop.
Yes!
Bases are loaded. Are we gonna get to? We are gonna get to Cork
I mean,
if we can
that'd be
avoid a
great if
double
we
play.
could get to Cork and get back to Randy. Even.
You're right. I mean,
I think we want
we want to hit here. Like we want Cork to have to get a
to
single.
go batter by batter.
Come on, Lip. Lip stroked a double to right center last at bat. High pitch.
Yeah, if we had that one again, that would potentially clear them.
I don't see anybody warming up. There's really not a place to warm up here. Maybe it's on the right field line. They may just decide they want to ride this guy. Good pitch. 1-1. Bases loaded. Top of the 9th. Mammoth down 7-3. Nobody out. Got Mike Dahl coming up, and then Matt Grill. Then there's a chopper. It's gonna be a tough play. Mammoth are saying that he pulled off the base. I actually think he was. I actually think he was off the base. So he reached out to get the ball. It felt like his foot left the base. Now
There
Billy's
was
trying to
third
sell
out
it.
a couple of innings ago where
I felt the
you
same
kind
thing.
of have that just sort of.
They're calling him safe. They're calling him safe. The home plate ump overruled the field ump and called him safe. The home plate ump saw it.
Sort of that, you know, when you kind of cover second and you kind of clear it and you maybe not touch it.
This is incredible. It's 7-4.
Kinda
Nobody
move.
out.
Kept moving forward.
I agree with you. I know what play you're talking about, Bob, and I didn't say anything because I thought nobody
It
cares.
was like
but
it didn't. I mean, it was.
that was the right call. First baseman reached for the ball and just
He didn't need to reach for the ball.
no. He just let his momentum carry him forward off the base as he was catching it. Nice call by the home plate umpire. Oh, that's not a strike. I don't think. A little high and in. 1-1. The sun's peeked out from behind the cloud it was under.
That's the ray of sunshine we need.
Come on, Mike. Field ump just called a balk on the pitcher. Pitcher does not agree. So that's not a pitch.
Let's go. Come on. Here we go, boy. Get a base hit.
Takes us out of a double play. That's huge.
So he didn't come set with the deal.
Is this
right?
7-5?
7-5.
We got the tying run on second with nobody out.
Let's go, boys. Let's go, Dolly.
So now Randy's arguing with or talking with one of their players.
I think Randy is saying that he had said it like a couple pitches before that it was a balk.
So I think Randy was probably talking to the field umpire, right? Because
Well,
Randy was
yeah.
at second and
And
probably in the ear of the umpire saying, hey, he's balking.
And then the shortstop is, kind of talking to Randy. He's like, well, he's been doing it all game. And Randy's comeback was like, well, it's still a balk. I mean,
Yeah.
whether you call it or not.
I suspect Randy was out there in the ear of that umpire saying, look, you got to call this. He's balking every time, or he's balking now.
I mean, I didn't necessarily pick it up. It looked like it was kind of a quick pitch, so my guess is that he didn't give that quick pause that pitchers need to do.
It's like seeing the play.
Was it he didn't come set?
Randy got that. I don't know if the stream caught it. Randy was talking up the umpire.
Yeah.
That's what we speculated, yeah.
It's a big position to call that first block of the game.
It's very true. It's like calling pass interference and
Like
pass.
at the end of a Hail Mary sort of.
Yeah.
But
Second and third, Mammoth down by 2, nobody out, top of the ninth. Started out the inning down 7-3, it's now 7-5. Randy's still conversing with the shortstop. It's not heated.
we're squeezing the corners here. We got third and first. Off trying to cut anything off.
Randy's telling that third base dugout that he's still doing it, but saying he's not stopping with his hands. Now he is. Okay, that's one. That balk made that like a sac fly, I guess, in a sense. First baseman is taking a little umbrage at Mike Dahl. Mike kind of brushed the first baseman's glove away as he was applying the tag. The tag was kind of high, but there was nothing malicious there.
It was just.
Yeah, I agree. Like
The
it
throw
was
was
just,
a little bit up. The first base a little bit up the line. I mean,
here's Matt Grill, man on second and third, one out.
infielders were pretty smart with the pitcher, strongly encouraging him just to go to first, get the out. They need outs more than anything.
Yeah, Randy wasn't far off third base, so I don't think they had a play over there. Come on, Matt. Come on, Matt. Come on, Matt. Oh. Fouls it down the first base line. Everyone up in both dugouts at this point.
Certainly got exciting.
Everybody's a little surprised that we're sitting right now, sitting up outside.
Okay.
It's a high fastball that Matt fouled back. What I worry about here is a slider off the plate that Matt offers at it. He doesn't seem to be throwing that much, though. He just seems to be content pumping this fastball in there. Definitely working
Worked. I mean,
away.
it's been
It really
highly
has.
successful.
Yeah. Let's see if where he sets up here. Setting up outside again. Off his glove, it's going to score one. Second baseman made the play. Oh, don't do this. What are you doing? I'm just going to say you cannot do that with Tom Corcoran stepping into the box. You can't. You just can't do that. Oh my God.
Was he safe?
He was out. He wasn't safe. I mean, we got Tom Corcoran stepping up. Corcoran's going to get in the box. You can't do that. Really nice game. Really nice game back there. Really nice. Thanks,
That was a good game.
That was a good game.
Boring for a while, but then I got excited.
Yeah, I think everybody was a little surprised that it got that close at the end. I certainly was. Hey, good game, guys. Good game, guys.
Here's your beer. You guys got a $500 credit for the sweet. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Nice job out there.
Good game, guys.
Thank you, sir. Yep. So we do it, right? Play every end. All right.
What do we think about that, Rob?
You know, if you offered that to me 3 innings ago, you know, I jumped at it.
Yeah.
So I think in that mindset, you got to take it. But, you know, you would have liked to see Tom Corcoran come to the plate in that situation.
Yeah.
But
I don't think he was safe. I mean, maybe the throw beat him, unless his foot got in there. I don't know.
I don't think I want to put my position on record for posterity. But I thought the umpires did a great job overall.
I just congratulated the home plate ump. I thought he did a nice job.
What do you how do you wrap these streams up in a loss? They're good guys. They were really classy guys.
No, I thought throughout the game. What I don't want to do is put cameras in people's faces at this point. So I give people space.
But for the people that you care very little about whether that bothers you.
People I don't really care if I offend. Yeah, I'm as close as I can get. I think we're going to do a team picture. We'll stick around a little bit, maybe.
You need any water or anything, dude?
We can send you the footage just if you want to see if it's out or safe.
Yeah, I don't think you need to see it again. I think you got it right the first time.
I was behind the plate, and he looked out to me.
You can't record me saying that.
The throw beat him, and I didn't see anything that made it look like he got under. Maybe in slow motion, but yeah. This is going to get meta. I'm going to record people taking pictures of us. Can I get over here? Am I too short for this?
You always got to stand a little closer than you think you got to.
This is new territory for us, guys. We've never done this before.
Wait. I'm going to sunglasses on and go.
I don't like it. Hey, good week, guys. Good job, guys. Good job.
Hey, what about back?
Nice job. That's some good baseball for some rusty old guys.
Stark, nice job.
Yeah, Stark, holy crap.
Wait, are we going to do another one?
Umpire wants.
All right.
On three. Three.
Thank you, Blue. Good game.
Tom,
Yeah.
how are Sadie?
I thought he was out. I mean, the throw beat him, unless he got the foot in. I don't know. Why did we think he was safe?
Because we want him to be safe.
Well, yeah, that's what I think. I mean, I could be wrong.
Why are we sending him when we have cork up?
Well, that's going to be the question that haunts us for the next year.
For the next 4 months until the opening day.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, I think we can get a little closer now that some of the sting is worn off.
7-6. Then always the play goes 7-6. Sounded a lot better. Was he safe? All right. Well, these guys.
We got the video. Maybe we don't. I don't know. It might not even be.
I mean, guys, I'm telling you,
It was so close.
my cleat removed before he take my knee. And for the record, I said rounded looked hard. I did not say I was going the whole way. Sorry, Corey. Just so you guys know, he was on his own there. But that was.
Now here's the thing.
I don't think it was a bad decision.
Here's the thing. On Saturday, I'm very, very sick.
Okay, I think take one long, wistful look at the skyline that we'll be leaving behind in a day and prepare to sign off. I want to thank everybody who tuned in. I want to again thank people who kept everyone up to date on the score and the innings. That's something that Bob and I did a very poor job at, so it was nice that other people were able to help us out with that. That was a lot of fun. You know, I've said it before, but these streams give me especially and Bob this trip kind of a reason to be down here. And you know, we're lucky to have more than a dozen people watching at any given time, but it does feel like we're talking to an audience when we do these things. So you make these experiences better for me, so I do appreciate that. So on that note, we will sign off from the 2022 Palm Springs Desert Classic. We'll be back the next time the Mammoth hit the road. So thanks, everybody, and we will talk to you soon.